did this game until you've gotten all the endings, if you ask me. Hey, Anatolu, City Raider. Explosive. Those wascally balloons. Hey, D-Nexus. Hey, Rageworks. Thank you, thank you. Hey, Hurt My Head. Hey, Chrono Kirby. Oh, nice. I have never actually managed to do that, Sonic. Although, to be fair, I haven't really seriously attempted it, but, it's certainly not easy.
Nice.
People don't know we're talking about that candy cutscene I just did is skippable if you do a really precise movement around the event trigger. But in any speedrun category other than New Game Plus, it doesn't really save you time, because if you skip the cutscene, you'll get it when you come back after Middle Ages. I believe if you do it in a full game run, it saves like 1 second because of cutting out having to walk back towards the candy stall. Oh, thanks for the compliment, Dark Shadow Ridge. Much appreciated. Hey, Frenarp. Now, this is the main game I've been speedrunning the past, like, 2-ish months. That's all I'm gonna be speedrunning the coming week, too. Before I leave for SGDQ on Friday. Hey, RPG chick. Here's the SGDQ schedule. Yeah, it's gonna be on Thursday at roughly 3:30 p.m. Central Time. If you look at the schedule link there, it'll convert it to your local time zone. Yeah, yeah, I am aware that my streaming times are
Agora eu
kind
fiquei
of
curioso,
bad
deixa eu ver.
for Europe, but that's unfortunately just how it works out as far as just when I
Deixa
have
eu ver algum outro speedrun desse
enough
cara.
consecutive
Algo
free
mais
time to
recente,
stream
qual é?
longer runs. Yeah, I know. I mean, how much of our lives do we spend sleeping?
Eu acho que eu vou ver outro, peraí.
How much more living could we do if we didn't need to do that? Come on, open the chest. To be a submission video for the any percent category.
Ó, esse aqui já tem 720, ó.
I mean, I'm using kind of a specialized route that's designed to be kind of optimized
Que
for marathons,
diferença,
so
né,
to be both
bicho?
safe and a more interesting watch than the kind of the true glitchless any percent route. So this route is pretty much the same as 100%, the category I normally run up
Ele
through
tem do 9.
a little over 3 hours in.
Ele tem de Game Boy, né, do Final
BB-8.
Fantasy Legend 3, Legend 2.
Kind of all said and done, it ends up being about an hour faster than 100%.
Ele tem na trilogia do Game Boy, né?
And it's about 30 minutes or so.
O cara só faz RPG, meu.
A more serious.
Não, ele faz Castlevania 4.
Glitchless route. Again, just kind of the trade-off being safer and kind of a more interesting watch for a marathon, because the fastest route would actually involve about a 30-ish minute grind session in the Toronto lair. So for our very first fight here, goal is to kill all 3 of the imps before they attack, which on Battle Speed 1 is a bit harder than you'd think, just because of having to attack imps other than the default target really quickly, but it all worked out there. Hey, Magic Sheep, look at me. So right, that is a 2-pixel window in order to flip around the trigger for that fight. We have a power tab here, which will eventually permanently raise Chrono's attack power by 1. Hey, DJ Eric, welcome in. Yeah, and when I say a new Chrono game too, I kind of envision it being like the Mana series, where you have kind of recurring things throughout the series, but each game is standalone. Like what I kind of envision for a new Chrono game is that you'd still have news, you'd still have Specchio, you'd have a combo tech system, you'd have some kind of really heavy theme around traveling in kind of unconventional ways, I should say, and part of the story and gameplay. Because just at its heart, just traveling would be like Octopath Traveler, but that's kind of more traditional, just fantasy world exploration. Hey, Sir Serpentine. Yeah, I mean, every bit of this game's soundtrack is good. I don't think there's a single dud. once Marley's disappeared into the cleft of dimension, going Kurt Ether. Yeah, agreed, Magic Sheep. I mean, when I kind of recommend 16-bit era RPGs to people that like have never played an RPG at all before, this is always at the top of the list, along with like Super Mario RPG, Lufia 2, and Phantasy Star 4. Hey, Specialist, thanks for luck. Welcome in. I have not heard of Threads of Time. Is that an indie RPG or something? Hey, David, evening, sir. Did yourself a nice weekend? Hey, Reality O, thanks for luck. Well, at least sleep was acquired at some point during the weekend then.
Paciência de assistir isso não. É uma coisa diferente. Aqui, por exemplo.
Well, I think the word traveler and
Procura
Octopath Traveler
por...
I mean, is appropriate.
Porra,
I mean,
boa, né?
they're open world games where you have kind of free reign to go exploring and
16 minutos. Ah, mas é... Taz. Nossa, cagar com Taz, meu. Que Taz o quê? Que Taz, meu? Cara, não tem, tá ligado? Isso é meio triste. Será que tem por... sangue? Eu acho que também não tem. Então tá. Me irritaram, cara. Me irritaram. Então o que eu vou fazer...
Get a better shot. There we go.
Eu adoro quando funciona, tá ligado?
Jurassic Park is one of the most ambitious movie games ever made for the Super Nintendo. It combines the top-down exploration of The Legend of Zelda with the first-person shooter action of Doom. The first Jurassic Park movie was the highest-grossing film of 1993, and adjusted for inflation is the 18th highest of all time. With the wild popularity of the novel it was based on, and the stunning special effects being developed using practical and cutting-edge CGI to bring the dinosaurs to life, everyone knew it would be a hit before it even premiered in theaters. British developer Ocean paid a few $100,000 to obtain the license to make the game, an amount considered absurdly high at the time, but seems like a steal by modern standards. Ocean got its start by converting arcade games to home systems, but they eventually got into creating original games for popular licensed properties, with mixed results. Some of them are pretty good, and others are Waterworld. Ocean had bet big on Jurassic Park, but they only had a few months to develop the game, so they pulled together a large team of artists and programmers. They included all of the bells and whistles that the Super Nintendo was capable of. Mode 7 effects, digitized dinosaurs, surround sound, and you can even use the Super Nintendo mouse that was included with Mario Paint. In the game, you control Dr. Alan Grant as he attempts to escape the chaos of Jurassic Park. Along the way, he'll need to find key cards to unlock doors, turn on the power so he can use computer terminals, stop the dinosaurs from escaping the mainland, and then finally call a helicopter to evacuate. The game's map is enormous, and as you explore the outside, you'll fend off dinosaurs as you move between the interior areas, which is where the game switches to first-person mode. Wolfenstein 3D, the predecessor to Doom, had only been released a year prior, and 3D first-person action like this may look rough around the edges by modern standards, but this seriously pushed the limits of the Super Nintendo's 16-bit hardware and would have been mind-blowing in 1993. As revolutionary as combining overhead exploration with first-person mazes sounds, it had been attempted previously in Fester's Quest, although the 3D sections in that game don't have any dinosaurs waiting to ambush you, except for this guy. The game's music was not taken from the film and is an original score created by John Dunn, who did the music for many of Ocean's licensed games. The background music is subtle and does a good job of enhancing the game's atmosphere. Despite the short development time, the game was a success for Ocean when it released in October of 1993. They had hoped to release it closer to the movie's June release, but luckily the movie was still playing in theaters, and the game was impressive enough to stand on its own. In hindsight, it was actually good for Ocean to hold back their game, because while they had secured the rights to make Jurassic Park games on Nintendo systems, an entirely different game was released for the Sega Genesis in August. That game, a more traditional 2D side-scroller with impressive graphics and a fun option where you can play as a velociraptor, was extremely popular when it released and would have been in more direct competition with the Super Nintendo version if they had both been released in the summer. Ocean would go on to make many more licensed games before merging with French publisher Infogrames, but none would be as unique as Jurassic Park. Modern players that attempt this game will still have to deal with all of the challenges the Super Nintendo is notorious for. It can be difficult to figure out how to complete the game's objectives, and just like in the movies, the dinosaurs are extremely vicious and can eviscerate you in seconds. It won't take much before it's game over. But what if I told you secret strategies for getting tons of ammo and even infinite lives? What if I showed you where to find every ID card so you'll never get stuck behind a locked door? And what if I showed you how to locate every hidden dinosaur egg so we can finally escape the island? Well, on today's episode of You Can Beat Video Games, we'll learn all of that and more. If you're new to the channel, we're doing deep dives on retro video games and giving you the professional strategies that can be used by the casual gamer. Please make sure to subscribe and check out youcanbeatvideogames.com for episode lists, news, and official You Can Beat Video Games merchandise. Let's get started. All right. Jurassic Park. To be able to beat this game, there are several objectives that we'll need to accomplish. We need to turn on the power, reboot the computers, close down the visitor center, clear out the ship, bomb the raptor nest, call the helicopter, find all of the eggs, and then escape the island. It's that simple.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Oh, thanks. So we start here at the park gates, and if you head over to the left, there are some bolas that we can pick up, and to pick up an item while you're outside, you need to hit the X button to do it. Other than the bolas, we start out with a cattle prod weapon, and if you stand in this spot and aim diagonally, that's probably the easiest way to get through this gate. The power may be off, but that gate is still electrified if you touch it, and you'll take damage. We want to make our way up here, and you'll see another weapon, the gas canisters. The gas canisters are okay, but they replace the bolas, and the bolas are probably the best weapon in the entire game, so you'll rather have them than the gas canisters. Inside the visitor center, there's a chicken leg, which will replenish half of your health, and right next to it is an elevator, and that's where we want to go. You want to enter this elevator and take it all the way to the top floor. Whenever we exit this elevator, we're going to encounter our first interior dinosaur, and it's a velociraptor. Don't be alarmed though, we're just going to shoot it from far away with our bolas, and that will take it out in a single shot. In this room, we'll also find rocket launcher ammo, and more ammo for our bolas. If you did take damage, there's a first aid kit right there. And this is something that's extremely important. If you go into the elevator and take it down one or any number of floors, and then come back up to this floor, you'll notice that all of the items have respawned, but the enemy has not respawned. You can repeat this as much as you want, so you can stock up on the 2 best weapons in the game very early on. But I'm not going to bore you with that, and instead we'll go through this door where we'll take out another raptor, and this exit leads out onto the roof.
E aí, Matheus?
Now, you don't lose your cattle prod whenever you pick up the rocket launchers. If you press the select button, you can switch over
Depende.
to it.
É pra zoar,
But we'll
meu?
mostly be wanting to
Quer
use
ser
the
banido?
good weapons out here. And down in the lower right corner of the roof, we'll find the game's first egg. And this is sort of a scavenger hunt that we need to do here in Jurassic Park. There are 18 eggs that we have to find, and we will not be able to leave the
Tô falando
island
sério,
without
ué.
finding all of them.
Sei.
Once you have the egg, you want to make your way to the upper left corner, where we'll find our first ID card. This is John Hammond's ID. There are 9 ID cards in this game, and they serve as keys to open up restricted rooms in the interior sections.
Eu queria tentar zerar esse jogo um dia, mas sei lá.
The items have once again respawned, but the enemies have not. And that's just how this game works.
Eu acho esse jogo interessante, mas eu tenho certo nojo dele da mesma forma. Eu não sei, ele me incomoda um pouco assim como Donkey Kong, mas não pelos mesmos motivos, quer dizer, quase. Na época que esse jogo saiu, todo dia que eu botava o pé na locadora, eu escutava as musiquinhas desse jogo. Sempre tinha alguém jogando. Peguei um ódio desse jogo, meu. Só que eu acho ele interessante. Aí eu tô há alguns anos tentando tomar coragem pra jogar esse jogo pra valer.
There's a food here if you need it, and then we're going to head past the exit and enter this room that will take us to a very iconic location from the movie, the kitchen. Although I don't remember there being purple ovens in the movie, but the 90s were a strange time. You'll also see a green dinosaur in here, which is a Dilophosaurus, or more casually, a spitter. And there's another spitter that you'll see as you enter this room. If it unfurls its neck, that means it's about to spit at you, so you want to back up and move out of the way of its projectile. In any case, once you clear those dinos, you can enter this room where you'll want to quickly turn to the left to take out a spitter, but there is a first aid kit that will restore our health afterwards. In here, there's another raptor, which we can disintegrate with our rocket launcher, and there's a spitter way down at the end of this hallway. This room we can't enter just yet. It says we need night vision goggles, and while we do have the night vision goggles, we don't have batteries for them right now, so if you enter that area without the batteries for your night vision goggles, you will be unceremoniously killed and immediately will lose a life. So don't do that, and instead we're going to head into this room, and we'll find another elevator which is going to take us to some lower levels in the visitor center. We're going to take this elevator down to the sub-level where we'll be able to find the batteries that we need for our night vision goggles. Unfortunately, we'll only be able to use the batteries in this particular building. I'm not sure why Dr. Grant keeps taking the batteries out and leaving them at the exit of interior areas. I really wish he would stop doing that. There are 2 spitters in this room, so take out the one on the left and then turn and take out this one on the right. You can use the nose piece of the goggles on your display here to line up your shots. So kind of use that nose piece as a targeting reticle. Line it up with these Dilophosaurus and hit them with either rocket launchers or bolas. It doesn't really matter which one that you use. Hopefully you should have a lot
Eu acho
of
engraçado
ammo
que esse
for
jogo tem uma arma que se chama bolas.
This room is guarded by another spitter, so launch a
Aí tu
rocket
vê
at
de vez em
it
quando
and
ele ali
back
no
up to
vídeo
avoid
falando
its projectiles.
bolas.
And then over to the right there's a
Ó, aquele
raptor
item ali no chão,
and
aquelas
another
bolas.
spitter. So you want to clear those out
É a
of the way,
bolas.
grab the bola rifle ammo, and
Oh,
then
you
you'll be
have
able to
found
find
bolas.
those batteries that we need, as well as a first aid kit. Nice.
Ah, que engraçado.
Once you have the batteries,
Será que era pra
just
ser
gonna
bolhadeira
backtrack
isso?
out the same way that we came, and we know that the dinosaurs aren't going to respawn, so as long as we don't go into any rooms we haven't been in already, we should be safe. Although there may actually be one dino hiding out near the elevator, there is over to the left. As long as you head straight into the elevator, she shouldn't be able to get you. With the batteries for our night vision in hand, we're going to take the elevator back up to the ground floor, and if you remember where that room was where we needed the night vision goggles, that's where we're headed back to. Before we go back there, if you need a restock on your bolas, there's some ammo right over to the left of this door. And then we're going to head through, and the room we're looking for is at the end of this hallway. So we're going to head all the way down here. And inside there is an enemy, so watch out for that Velociraptor. Take her out, and then we'll be able to grab some more rocket launcher ammo, and what we were actually looking for, Alan Grant's ID card. And for now, that's all that we needed to get here in the visitor center. Although if you're paying attention, you may have noticed that when we went up the
Curioso.
first elevator,
Velociraptor, eles chamam de ela. Eles falam ela. Quando eu aprendi inglês quando era criança, quer dizer, criança, adolescente, eu lembro da professora falando que animais, acho que até animais eles usavam it, né? Tipo coisa, sabe? She or he era pra pessoa, pá. Eu não sei se eu que lembro errado ou se mudaram, né? Porque, por exemplo, agora o dinossauro é she.
One of the things we need to do in this game is to stop the raptors from sneaking into the visitor center. And if you ask me, they're probably just getting in through the wide open front door. But this game seems to suggest that there's a passage between the raptor pen and the visitor center that needs to be closed. So that is an objective that we will need to be able to complete before we can finish the game. If you activate one of those tall metal poles, that's actually a checkpoint, so if you get killed by the dinosaurs, that's where you'll respawn. Whenever you see those motion sensor poles, you should try to activate them. It'll save you a lot of time. Up here behind the raptor pen, we'll find our second egg, so we have 16 more to find. And it's very important that you don't get crushed by these large rocks. You can try to taunt them to fall. or you can just walk past them very quickly, but if you get hit by the full rock, that's instant death. You can collect some rocket launchers up on the left side, but we should have good ammo on those, so once you have the egg, you want to make your way down here to this brown building. It looks like you would go in through the garage door on the front, but actually you need to climb up this ladder, clear out any enemies in your way, grab the rocket launchers if you want them, and enter this door up on the top floor. As soon as you enter the raptor pen, if you look over to your left, you'll notice a velociraptor enemy, which makes a lot of sense. We're in the raptor pen, but behind her is a green computer terminal, and although we haven't restored the power yet and we haven't rebooted the system, it's worth noticing this one because it is the most convenient computer terminal in the game. It doesn't do anything special, but once the computers are back online, if you need to randomly open a gate somewhere, it's very easy to just pop into the raptor pen and use that computer terminal to do it. With all that out of the way, we're going to pop into this elevator and take it all the way down to the ground level. On the middle level, that's where we'll be able to find Ian Malcolm's ID card, but we won't be able to get it until we have the battery for the night vision goggles, so we're going to need to find that down here on the ground floor. There are a number of enemies here in this first room, so make sure to take them out before you try to grab some items. But if you are low on health, prioritize getting that first
Nunca imaginei que os bichos desse jogo fossem tão bonzinhos nessa parte aí em primeira pessoa. Porque eles ficam parados, né? Tipo, eles atacam, mas na minha cabeça eles eram mais atacantes.
So take them out with your rocket launcher and then head over to this door that's right nearby. In here there's a raptor patrolling, so take her out with your bolas. And then move on in and enter this door. In this room there's another enemy, and there's also the batteries for the night vision goggles. Once we have the batteries, we could go back and get Malcolm's ID card, but there's a second ID card in here, and we might as well go and get that now. We are going to have to come back here later because we don't have security level 1, and we are unable to enter this room because we don't have it. Yeah, we know our access is denied. Thanks, you don't have to tell me 3 times. We will have to come back for that later, so we don't actually need to get Robert Muldoon's ID card right now, but we're going to make our way through this area.
O ser humano é tão mal, né?
We'll grab his ID
Que o
card
ser humano é capaz de recriar os dinossauros só pra extinguir de novo. A gente quer extinguir com nossas próprias mãos, entendeu? A gente não quer um meteoro pra isso.
And enter this room where there are multiple dinos. Once again, those are not trees or bushes in the back. Those are spitters. So line up your rocket launchers, and if you're having trouble aiming the rocket launchers, the bolas are a little bit more forgiving. Once those guys are destroyed, it'll be safe to head over to this door. And in this room, there's some more ammo for your rocket launchers, and there are no enemies in here to worry about. So just grab those rocket ammos and make your way through. Luckily, we have the battery for the night vision goggles, so we won't be killed whenever we enter this room, assuming that we're fast enough at shooting that raptor. If you do ever get killed in one of the interior sections, you'll be returned to the entrance, and you can just come back in. The enemies will not have respawned, and it should not be very difficult to get back to where you were. So it's not actually that big of a deal to get killed in this game. Down here on sub-level 1, there's a spitter, so we'll take her out. There's also some rocket launcher ammo nearby. It sounds like there's a lot of dinos down here. So for now, if you're looking at the map, we came from elevator B, so that should help you get your bearings. And we want to take this door at the end of the hallway. We're going to make our way towards where Robert Muldoon's ID card is. We don't need to go to elevator C right now. That'll take us down to sub-level 2, and sub-level 2 is where we're going to be able to stop the raptors from going into the visitor center. But we don't need to do all that right now. Right now, we're just trying to get Robert Muldoon's ID card, and then we're gonna get out of here.
Uma coisa que eu gosto dos jogos de videogame dessa época, todo inimigo explode. Dinossauro explode, ninja explode.
It's pretty hard to miss at point blank range. In the next room, there's one more raptor, and she is guarding the thing that we've been looking for, Robert Muldoon's ID card. Once we have it, you'll just want to make your way back to the same elevator that we used to get down here. If you happen to walk into a room that has a bunch of dinos in it, that probably means that you've gone the wrong way, with the exception of this room, where we haven't killed the one spitter at the end of that hall. But we're going to take this door over to the left. And I'm going to speed this up now. You've seen us go through this already, and there shouldn't be any enemies in our way, so it should not be too hard to get back to the elevator. So we're just going to make our way back there now. We still need to get Ian Malcolm's ID.
O canal desse cara é bem bom porque ele faz... Tipo, os vídeos dele é só isso, entendeu? É ele ensinando a zerar os jogos. Eu só não assisto os vídeos dele porque eu não quero spoiler, tá ligado? Eu tô assistindo esse porque eu sei que eu não vou lembrar de porra nenhuma quando eu for jogar, então foda-se.
If you don't remember who Robert Muldoon was from the movie, he was the one that always dressed up like Crocodile Dundee and would say stuff like, "Shoot, or clever girl." He's that guy. And that's why his ID card is the one that we'll need to get the nerve gas that we'll use to destroy the raptor nest. Once you get back to the elevator, we're going to take it to the middle floor, which is known as the upper level.
O jeito mais fácil, mas é violento, né? Vai dizer. A gente nunca para pra pensar nisso, né? Mas, porra, tu explodiu um dinossauro, cara. Tartaruga Ninja, tu explode os ninja. Se bem que no jogo, eu não sei se no desenho é assim, né? Mas no jogo os ninjas são robôs, então... Tartaruga Ninja é o bagulho mais bizarro que tem, tipo, tem o quadrinho, tinha os filmes e tinha os desenhos. Em cada mídia era um universo totalmente separado um do outro, né? Porque, por exemplo, se no desenho os ninjas forem robôs, no filme a gente já sabe que não são, porque eu lembro que tinha até uma parte do filme que o cara ia ser recrutado como ninja pra ser um espião lá dentro. E nos quadrinhos também não são robôs, porque eu já li os quadrinhos, né? Eu li pelo menos a primeira edição lá que saiu no Brasil, lá nos anos 90 e tal. Eu tinha. Ah, meu, perdeu a chance de ensinar o cara. Só que o cara já fez o vídeo, né? But try to take out all the enemies first, or you will get eaten as you're bending over to grab the first aid. There's a whole animation for Grant to bend over and pick up stuff whenever he's outside. Mas assistindo esse vídeo eu já aprendi duas coisas que eu não sabia. Caso eu fosse jogar o jogo, eu ia me ferrar por causa disso. Um, que tem uns postes durante o mapa aí que serve como checkpoint. Eu não ia saber que os postes faziam isso, tá ligado? Eu nem ia mexer neles. E outra, eu tenho essa mania de achar que a arma secundária não é pra tu ficar gastando toda hora, né? Mas não, o cara tá gastando que nem louco, tá ligado? Ou seja, o jogo ia ficar muito mais difícil pra mim porque eu não ia usar as armas. There are some night vision rooms, but none of them contain mandatory items, so grabbing the batteries is just for fun in this one. Once you have them though, we're going to make our way over to the left of the entrance, and this is going to take us to where the elevator is. Take out this spitter before you head down there, get a better shot. There we go. And the elevator will be down the hall and to the left. On the sub-level, there's a locked door that we won't be able to go through. Eu já quis fazer vídeo desse tipo, mas eu não tenho paciência não. Quando eu comecei a fazer canal, Quando eu comecei a fazer canal, tipo, porque eu faço vários canais no YouTube e no TikTok, tá ligado? Eu só faço canal, eu não faço vídeo. Eu só gosto de abrir o canal, criar e tal, e depois eu não faço mais nada. Não, mas falando sério, quando eu comecei a fazer vídeo, uma das ideias que eu tinha era tentar, de alguma forma, transformar o conceito de revista de videogame em vídeo, sabe? E uma das ideias era isso, era tipo fazer os detonados, né? Então ensinar passo a passo, zerar os jogos e tal, mas... dá tanto trabalho, cara.
Inside, we're going to find Donald Gennaro's ID card.
Porque eu tenho um problema. Sempre que eu vou gravar um vídeo, eu fico toda hora preocupado que alguma coisa vai me atrapalhar, sabe? E daí, além de eu não conseguir lembrar de tudo que eu tenho que falar, porque eu tô com a cabeça em outro lugar, com medo de ser interrompido, eu também fico com pressa pra falar logo antes que me interrompam, sabe? Então, tipo, o vídeo sai uma bosta. Por isso que eu adoro fazer vídeo pro TikTok. Depois que eu descobri o TikTok, foi uma maravilha. Faço vídeo em 1 minuto, diminui a chance de me interromperem, eu consigo falar por 1 minuto sem passar mal.
Although we can't do much with the computer terminals right now because we haven't turned on the power yet. Take out that Velociraptor, and you'll see there's the computer terminal over on the right, but nothing we can do with it at the moment. And here is the generator room. Take out the several Dilophosaurus that guard the generator. You don't want to get anywhere near these guys or they'll start spitting at you, but if you take them out at far range, you won't have any problems. Once they're all eliminated, we're going to head over to the generator, and you can easily turn it on. It's not like in the movie where you have to prime it a few times first. With the power on, we've completed our first objective, and if you'd like to find a nice little bonus room, this one contains 2 foods and 2 rocket launcher ammos. So if you'd like to quickly stock up on rocket launcher ammo, that could be a good room to do it in. Before we leave, now that we've turned on the power, let's check out this computer terminal. Unfortunately, we cannot reboot the system from this console. We can only reboot it from a very particular computer. And that's one of the most difficult parts of this game, figuring out which computer terminals are needed to do which actions. Once you've powered on the system,
uma coisa que eu nunca parei pra tentar entender o que é, vou tentar prestar atenção agora. Nessas partes aí de visão em primeira pessoa, tem um número em cima da tela. Nunca parei pra pensar o que é esse número. Ah, deve ser aquele número lá embaixo, é ponto? Ai, jogo com pontuação, gente. Que coisa mais anos 90.
I'm not actually sure what species of dinosaur has been laying these eggs. I thought it was supposed to be raptors, but they don't look like the raptor eggs that we'll see in the raptor nest later in the game. And I'm not exactly sure what kind of dinosaur that's represented in this game just lays 1 egg at a time anyway. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but in any case, if you come down here, this is where we'll find the 4th egg, and we will have 14.
Pra mim, pontuação só serve pra uma coisa, pra ganhar vida, ou se a pontuação de alguma forma te der XP ou coisa parecida.
And we could hit this motion sensor to make a checkpoint, but our current checkpoint is actually right here at the door of the Nublar utility shed, so if you were to die, that's where you would come back
Tipo no Revenge of Shinobi do Mega Drive, que com a pontuação tu aumenta teus pontos de vida e tal. É literalmente XP.
But we need to go through this raptor infested area first, and these raptors are one of the few enemies in the game that does keep respawning. It doesn't seem like they ever stop coming no matter how many that you kill, so you always need to watch out for raptors when you cross through that area. Up here we'll need to open the gate again. It seems like the gate only functions whenever we see it. So if you're wondering the answer to that age-old question, if a gate closes and no one is around, does it make a sound? The answer is no. The gate won't close at all if no one's there. We're going to pop into the visitor center just to grab a quick chicken leg. We do need to reboot the computer system, but we're not going to be able to do it without Dennis Nedry's ID card, so that's the next thing that we need to find. His ID card is located down in the beach utility shed, and that's located in the lower left corner of the map. Tim Murphy tells us not to shoot at the Gallimimus or they'll stampede. Well, I hate to tell you, Tim Murphy, they will stampede anyway, so I do recommend shooting at those guys if they get in your way. We're going to make our way through this maze. There are a few dinosaur eggs that we need to find in this maze, so we want to make sure that we pick those up. There are a total of 3 to locate in here, so make sure that you get all 3 before you move on to the next spot. Here's the first one. The next egg that we're looking for.
Porra, esse jogo deve ser bem difícil de zerar sem detonado, porque pelo que eu entendi, tu tem que coletar um monte de ovo. É uma das coisas que tu tem que fazer pra zerar o jogo. E tu tem que pegar todos. E aí ele tá dizendo que nesse labirinto aí tem 3 ovos. E aí eu penso, tá, como que a pessoa descobre isso jogando sem um detonado, sabe? Que ela deixou um ovo no labirinto.
You can press the L or R button to make them go away more quickly. So keep that in mind. If those are bothering you, just quickly hit one of the shoulder buttons and they will disappear. Now we're going to make
Imagina, tem que ficar procurando o ovo, cara. Tem que ficar procurando o ovo no palheiro.
There are a lot of enemies in here. At this fork where you saw the rocket launcher ammo, that's where you want to go up, and you want to skip past all of the forks until you get to a dead end, and then you're going to head over to the right, and that's where you'll find the 3rd dinosaur egg in this area. From here you'll want to head straight down, but make sure to stay on the right side of the path so that you can avoid a stampeding Triceratops. If you get run over by her, that's instant death. The path will fork at the very bottom and you want to go to the left. There are more raptors that will try to ambush you here. Just follow the path along and it's going to lead you down to the beach where we'll find the beach utility shed. You'll want to quickly get inside to establish a checkpoint at the entrance. We currently have 5 of the 9 ID cards, and when we're done here in the beach utility shed, we're going to have 7 of them. We already know that Dennis Nedry's is hidden in here, but we're also going to find Ray Arnold's ID card, which we're going to need to open a locked door in the ship area.
Eu acho engraçado que nessa parte do elevador toca a musiquinha de elevador mesmo, né? Eu lembro quando eu vi isso pela primeira vez, achei tão engraçado.
So it's very important that we found that one first. In here there are several spitters, so you can take them out with your bolas, and there's a raptor patrolling in this room.
Os caras foram bem detalhistas.
Before moving forward. We're going to follow the path around, and there are a bunch of dinos in this next room. And use our bolas, and oh, it looks like it was a 2-for-1 sale at the dinosaur store, because we were able to take out both of those guys in a single shot. But that's not it. Carefully stay back here so that you can take out this last raptor, and then make your way over towards the door, but take this one over on the left. This path is going to take us into several smaller rooms, but it's going to end with the night vision goggle batteries that we're going to need. So make sure to head down this hallway first, go into this door, watch out for some spitters in here. Just stay in the doorway and take them out. Oh, that one, well, we were able to avoid it, nice. And once we go through this door, we'll be able to get those night vision batteries. And some first aid as well. Take out that Velociraptor first. And there's another spitter over on the side. Get her out of the way. And there are those night vision batteries. We could have saved a lot of time by just stopping at Target on the way to Jurassic Park and picking up a whole bunch of batteries. But no, now we'll have to find them hidden in rooms. And now that we have the night vision goggles, we're going to be able to go and get that Ray Arnold ID card. So make your way through this door. We do have the batteries, so we'll be safe, assuming that we take out these enemies. There are actually a few enemies in the back of the room as well, so make sure to pay attention to them. They're not that easy to see here in night vision. And there's another one on the right. Take her out. And we don't actually need those gas canisters, but we do need Ray Arnold's ID card. If you don't remember who Ray Arnold was, that was the character played by Samuel L. Jackson. And we're going to speed this up a little bit because we just need to backtrack to the main level. From the trailer, it looked like Samuel L. Jackson was going to play a lot bigger part in the movie, but at least he gets to say, hang on to your butt.
Nossa, o Samuel L. Jackson tá no filme? O Jurassic Park, não é nem
We're going to take that elevator back up to the ground level. And it's on this level that we're going to grab Dennis
Eu não lembro de
Nedry's
nada do
ID
filme.
card. From the elevator, we're just going to go straight down the hall, past the exit, and enter this room. There's a Dilophosaurus at the end. Take her out, and then we're going to curve around where there's another spitter. Couple rockets will take care of those enemies, and once we go through this door, there's another spitter in here, so take her out. Grab the rocket launcher ammo, and the next room is where Nedry's ID card is. But watch out, there's a raptor that'll attack you from the left. So quickly turn left, take out the raptor, and now we have Dennis Nedry's ID card. And that's the last thing we needed here in the beach utility shed, so just make your way to the exit. Dennis Nedry was the computer systems engineer that was played by Wayne Knight, who you would recognize as Newman from Seinfeld. So it's very appropriate that his ID card is the one that we'll need to open up the door in the visitor center that leads to the computer terminal that we can use to reboot the entire system. So we're going to head back along the path. Make sure to stay to the right here so that you can avoid getting trampled by a Triceratops. And that will take you back to that area where we found the last egg here in the beach maze. So we're just going to make our way down, and we'll loop around to the left and then back up, and that's going to take us back towards where the visitor center is. But definitely be wary of raptor attacks. They could come out of the trees at any area and are very dangerous. Hit them with Ebolas, try to keep some space between you and the raptors. And over here, you're going to see a shotgun shell. I usually use that as a landmark. There's a fork in the road there, and you want to head north at that fork and then go to the right where you're going to find a motion sensor.
Run.
We can tag that motion sensor to make sure that we have a checkpoint here. And we also get a humorous message from Dennis Nedry, who tells us that raptors won't attack us unless we shoot at them. Yeah. Anytime you see a message from Dennis Nedry, you need to treat it like it's opposite day. That guy only tells lies. Tim Murphy's advice really isn't all that much better, and for a kid that claims to have read every book on dinosaurs, you'd think he'd have some better tips. And that takes us back to the visitor center. Once we get inside, as usual, we'll be in the first-person view. If you're using the Super Nintendo mouse with this game, you're going to need to switch between the mouse and the controller whenever you're in the interior or exterior areas. And I will say that although I expected it to be terrible, using the Super Nintendo mouse actually wasn't too bad considering that we don't have a keyboard to be able to do strafing moves. But it actually was a lot smoother than I expected.
Ah, esse jogo funciona o mouse do Super Nintendo nele.
That we haven't been to yet, and we kind of skipped over it before. If you head straight across, you'll find the incubator room. This is a large room that contains a whole bunch of spitters, so you'll want to take out all of those. But there is a hidden first aid kit behind that purple bench. I'm not sure exactly what it is. The purple thing. So behind that purple thing, you can get your energy refilled, and then we're going to take this narrow passage. There's a raptor patrolling inside, take her out, and that's the door that we needed Dennis Nedry's ID card to get through. And you'll see that once you get beyond it, there are a few more dinos to take out, and then one of those green computer terminals. This is the very important computer terminal that can reboot the system. As soon as you interface with the computer, it will immediately load up and give you the option to reboot the system. And once the system is rebooted, you can go into park controls and turn the motion sensors on. Turning on the motion sensors is not mandatory. You don't have to do it to be able to beat the game. However, it is a good idea, and it's going to make your radar work whenever you're outside. One last thing that you should do while you're in the computer is go into the gate controls and open up gate number 1. This is going to lock gate number 2 and 3, so we won't be able to go back down to where the Nublar utility shed is, but we will be able to go to a new location in the upper left corner. For now though, the next place that we need to go is the ship. And you can take a look, the radar is now active at the bottom. It's not extremely useful, but the one thing I like to use the radar for is whenever you're in a forested area.
Eu gostei, eu não esperava por isso.
You'll be able to see them on the radar.
Tipo, tu tem um radar no jogo, mas tu não começa com ele funcionando. Tu tem que ativar ali no computador. Aí agora o radar ali embaixo funciona.
So we're going to work our way around. You'll go up and to the right. And this is
Se eu te disser que eu nem tinha reparado que ele não funcionava. Porque eu lembro de eu já ter visto gente jogando na época das locadoras, né? E sei lá, eu via de vez em quando ali o... Eu devo ter visto uma ou duas vezes o radar funcionando, aí na minha cabeça ele funciona sempre. Eu nem me liguei que não estava funcionando até agora.
These mountains are going to lead us to the ship, but if you look at the map, you'll also notice that there's a secret level mentioned, so we are going to stop there first. Before we do any of that though, make your way up and to the right here where we can pick up some more bolas, and then we'll be able to get that egg. It's the second in this area, and there are actually 5 eggs in this area, so we need to find 3 more. From here, we're going to head back down. There's a rock that will fall off on a ledge down here, but right next to that rock, a raptor always ambushes you. So as you pass this rock, get ready to take out a raptor. You'll need to do that every time you cross that path. From here, you're going to go down both sets of stairs, and then if you head into this corner, that's where the secret level is. The secret level is pretty small. If you head straight back, you'll find some ammo for the rocket launcher, the shotgun, or the bolas. We don't really need shotgun ammo, but it's nice that the 2 weapons that we're using you can replenish right here. But that's not all you'll find in here. If you push through this wall, you'll find a secret room that contains a 1-up. Now you may also be wondering, what's up with the big D? Scattered all around the world of this game, mostly in the outside areas, are a bunch of letters, and if you find them all, write them down and unscramble them, they make the name Dr. Horner. Dr. Horner is a famous paleontologist that was a consultant on the Jurassic Park book and movies. They say that the character of Dr. Grant may even be loosely based on him, and he even made a cameo appearance in Jurassic World. The most exciting thing about this area though is that you can continue to go in and out of the secret level to collect the extra life as many times as you want, essentially giving you infinite lives. As cool as infinite lives sounds though, there's no real penalty for having to continue, so if you run out of lives, it's not that big of a deal. The dinosaurs will not respawn if you continue. You don't even lose your points, so your score will remain intact.
Ou seja, indo ali tu pode pegar vidas infinitas, né? Ficar pegando vida. Só que pelo que ele tá dizendo, continua infinito. E tu não perde nada usando continua, então não tem por que pegar vida. Talvez tu perca os pontos, não sei, né? Essa parte ele não falou, mas tipo...
One nice thing that the secret level does is create a checkpoint so that if you die, you will come back there. And there are a few more eggs to find, so make sure to get this one in the lower left corner of the area. And then we're going to go up past where the ship is, and we're going to find another egg that's located in the upper right corner. There's also a 1-up up there, but the 1-ups are not particularly exciting, especially since we can get infinite of them back at that secret level that we were just in. Watch out for this Dilophosaurus. There's the R in Dr. Horner. And there's that extra life, so feel free to grab it, but the most important thing that you need to get there is that dinosaur egg. Once you have the egg in your possession, we want to come back down to where the ship is, and there's a little bridge that we'll need to activate to be able to get onto the ship. To activate it, you'll need to shoot this gear mechanism right up here in that corner, and then the bridge will go across to the other side.
É, John.
Once you're crossed over, you could go inside the door to enter the ship, but there is one more dinosaur egg located up on top. So pop up here, grab the 5th and final egg in this area, leaving us with only 6 more eggs to locate, and then jump over these electrified vents and make your way inside the ship. To be able to beat the game, we need to clear every single dinosaur on the ship, so we cannot leave a single one alive. We're going to try to work our way through the entry level here and take out as many of the dinosaurs as we can, but we will have to come back to the ship later, so we don't have to clear every single one in this first trip. It'll just make it a little bit easier when we have to come back. The one thing that we do need to do here on the entry level, though, is make sure that we find the batteries for our night vision goggles. Without those batteries, we won't be able to get much deeper into the ship. The batteries for the night vision goggles are not that hard to find. You just want to take the main hallway that you entered in, follow it all the way to the end where you'll see 2 doors that are facing each other. You're going to take the door on the right, which will lead you into this large room that contains a gas canister. Clear out the raptor in here, and then enter this room that has 2 more raptors in it, and that's where we're going to find those batteries for the night vision goggles. So grab those batteries, and once we have them, we're going to do our
Nunca parei pra jogar esse jogo pra valer.
the rest of this floor of dinosaurs.
Eu só vi os caras jogando na locadora.
One thing that we do need to do on
Mas
this
eu acho ele
trip to the ship
interessante.
is get Dr. Wu's ID card, and you can see that Dr. Wu's ID card is down there on sub-level 1, but it's located in a dark room, so that's why we had to get those batteries first. In this room, we can shoot a dinosaur from the doorway, and then we'll just head back to the right. We're going to go into the door that is on the left side when there's the 2 that were facing each other at the end of the hall. In here, there's a few more raptors. One thing that's a little bit annoying about the ship is that considering the raptors are brown and the background here is brown, sometimes the enemies blend into the ship.
Foi no começo das lives do TikTok.
It's almost as though the raptors have evolved specific camouflage for this exact ship. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but what we're trying to do now is to clear all of the dinos on the left side of the ship, and then we're going to work our way over to the right. That's where the elevator is, so we need to go over there anyways. Watch out for raptors that will attack you as soon as you enter this room, but we can be a little bit more reckless because there is a first aid kit in here, and that'll get our health back up to full. When we come back here later in the game, they're going to give us a count of how many dinos are on each level of the ship so that we can be very sure that we got them all, but for now we just want to do our best and try to clear as many as possible. The game has a strange order to it. it really wants us to be able to complete another objective first. They want us to stop the raptors from being able to get from the raptor pen into the visitor center, and until we do that, we won't actually be able to get credit for clearing the ship. So we're going to try to get Dr. Wu's ID card out of here. We're going to try to do our best to clear as many dinos as possible so we won't have to fight them again later. But it is important to note that whenever we come back to the ship at a later time, we will be able to know how many dinosaurs are located on each level, and that will make it a whole lot easier to be very sure that we got them all. We're going to make our way over to where the elevator is. It's marked with a letter A on the map. This ship actually the last few dinosaurs are, and that would be very frustrating. So for now, we're just going to take the elevator down to sub-level 1. You'll know you're in the right place because there's rocket launcher ammo right as soon as you get off the elevator. And if you head over to the right, there's a few enemies you can take out right over here. And there's another room we can enter. We might as well clear this one while we're here. Then we won't have to come back to sub-level 1 whenever we return to the ship later. There are only 4 rooms on this floor, so do your best to clear out all the dinos, and then you're going to make your way over to the left side of the map. That's where you'll find the dark room that contains Dr. Wu's ID card. Dr. Wu was the lead geneticist for Jurassic Park, played by B.D.
Sim,
Wong,
tem minha
who
playlist com as
actually
lives
has a
também.
role in the upcoming Gremlins cartoon for HBO. Dr. Wu's ID is required to open up a door on the first
Além de
floor of the
vários
visitor
vídeos que eu já
center,
fiz.
and behind that door we'll find a special computer terminal that will allow us to get level 1 security clearance. And level 1 security clearance is
Aqui eu
similar
posto
to an
coisa
ID
desde
card that we'll need to
2011,
use it to
2012,
open a
então
door.
tem bastante coisa aqui.
This is the room where we're going to find Dr. Wu's ID card, and it is
Agora, a coisa
guarded
com
by
qualidade
several
são outros
fitters.
500.
So make sure to take all
Né?
of them out, even the one in the back of the room, which is kind of hard to see, before you go all the way in and grab the ID card. Once you have Dr. Wu's ID, you can go back to the elevator and make your way out of the ship. That's all we need from there for now. Now that we have Dr. Wu's ID from the ship, we need to make our way back through the mountains so that we can get back to that visitor center. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to get through the mountains, so you may want to stop at the secret level just to establish a checkpoint. In case any of the dinosaurs in the mountains kill you, then you won't have to go back as far, and it's not a bad idea to pick up a little bit more ammo, because we will have to take out a lot more dinosaurs moving forward, especially once we come back to clear the entire ship. So whether you stop in for ammo or you just stop in to make a checkpoint, it is a good idea to stop by the secret level and then head back through the mountains. As usual, there's a raptor waiting to ambush us near that rock, and you're going to take this path down here and then follow this one around. We're looking for the gas canisters. That's the landmark that we're going to need to find. It's not those ones down onto the right. You'll see them up on our path. Yeah, so look for the gas canisters that are on our level and go to the right whenever you see them, and that's near where the stairs are going to be. And then we're going to follow the stairs around past the R in Dr. Horner's name, and this path is going to take us back to where the visitor center is. It would have been nice if maybe there was some kind of gate we could have opened on the other side of the mountains that would make us able to get back to this area more easily. But anytime that you need to go to the ship, you are going to have to cross those mountains. That's just the way it is. Watch out for the Gallimimus. Whether you shoot at them or not, they do stampede. And make your way into the visitor center. Grab a chicken leg if you need it. We might actually need a chicken leg here, it's not the worst. And we're just going to jump right into that elevator that's right here near the entrance. Once you get into the elevator, take it on up to the first floor, and we're going to get out and head straight through that incubation room and take generally the same path that we took to get to where the computer terminal was that let us reboot the system. So just head straight across. Here's the incubator room. If you need the first aid kit, it's still there. right behind the purple things. And then we're going to go through this room where there used to be a raptor patrolling, but she's not there anymore. And this is the room where we rebooted the system. So that should help you get your bearings. From here we need to go through this door, and now we're heading into uncharted territory. Uncharted territory means that there are some dinos here that we haven't killed yet, so we need to be on our toes as we go through this area. There's a spitter over to the left. Take her out and then grab the food, but watch out for the raptor that will attack from the right. Once you clear that raptor, just head straight through. You'll know you're going the right way if you see this spitter with the rocket launcher ammo. And once you go through this door, this is the one that contains the first aid kit. And past that, this is where we're going to find that computer terminal that we were looking for. That's the one that we need to be able to get security level 1. So take out that spitter. There's actually another spitter over to the left. There's some ammo if you need it. But we were looking for this computer terminal. That's what we came for. Once you log in, we're going to go to Park Control and choose Park Security. From here, we can request a level 1 security clearance. You won't be able to get level 2 security clearance from this terminal, so once you have level 1, you can get out of the visitor center. That's the last thing that we needed to do in here. However, if you wanted to explore the laboratory a little bit, this is totally optional. You can go through the other door in the room with the computer, and you'll find this unique area that doesn't have any dinosaurs in it and does contain some food, so you might as well stop in there for a snack. And then we're going to head back the same way that we came, going through these sets of double doors. And when you see the biohazard sign at the end of the hall, you'll want to go to the left there to go back the way that we came. But if you go to the right, there is a raptor in here, so watch out for her. The far room contains a 1-up. You will need night vision goggles to get it. So you can grab some rocket launcher ammo and that extra life. Of course, the extra life not super exciting. We don't really need it for anything, but it is nice to know where they are. And this room over here contains a first aid kit, and there are no enemies around it.
Então, pelo que eu tô percebendo nesse jogo, ele é mais fácil do que eu pensava. Porque se tu tem continue infinito, tu não perde nada usando continue. E os inimigos dentro desses estágios em primeira pessoa, eles não voltam à vida mais. Mesmo tu usando continue, eles não voltam. Então, tipo, por exemplo, tu pode ir entrando e mesmo que tu morra sempre que tu entra, se tu matar pelo menos um inimigo cada vez que tu entrar, sabe, tu pode gastar quantos continues tu quiser que tu vai conseguir matar todos. O que te impede de zerar esse jogo, pelo que eu tô vendo, é tu não saber o que tem que fazer mesmo.
And one of the requirements for beating the game is that we cut that access off. Until we do this requirement, we will not be able to get credit for clearing the ship.
Tu não saber o que tem que fazer não deve ser tão difícil, porque, tipo, pelo que eu tô entendendo aí, tu precisa pegar cartões de acesso e tu precisa ir em computadores específicos para desbloquear determinadas coisas e tal. Então, tipo, não é nada que eu não tenha feito na época lá jogando os RPGs em japonês, tá ligado? Tentativa e erro, tentativa e erro. Então, mesmo tu não entendendo nada, a única coisa que te impede de zerar esse jogo, pelo que eu tô vendo, é falta de paciência. O que pode ser um grande problema. Porque essa visão em primeira pessoa, nossa, como ela é demorada. Tipo, deve rodar quantos quadros? 5 quadros por segundo, isso?
Is because as soon as we complete this requirement, we're going to be able to radio the ship from the computer that is located on the ground level here.
Assim, tu não sabe onde estão todos os ovos, né? Acho que são 18 ovos que tu tem que achar, pelo que entendi.
To be able to get into that room, you need to have security level 1, and that's why we had to do all of that other stuff leading up to this point. If you remember the first time we entered the raptor pen, we saw the door that's locked by security level 1, and that's where we're going to need to go after we cut off the raptors from the visitor center. Down here on sub-level 1, we're taking a slightly different path than we took the previous time that we were down here. We basically want to go from letter B, which is the elevator that we arrived on, through the rooms in the upper left corner and work our way over to elevator C, which is where this is. Once you're on elevator C, you'll be able to take that down to sub-level 2. And there are 2 elevators on sub-level 2, but the other one will take you back to the visitor center. And because once we cut off the raptors from the visitor center, we need to use the computer here in the raptor pen, we're not going to ever use that particular elevator. So we won't really need to use that shortcut between the 2 buildings, but it does exist. You will need to have Ellie's ID to be able to use it, and we don't have that yet, so it's kind of a moot point right now. But it is worth noting that that is where Ellie's ID is used, and it's the only one of the 9 ID cards that is not.
Eu não sei se entendi direito o que ele falou, mas é referência a Friends.
There is a large dark room at the bottom of this floor, and so we're trying to find the doorway that leads to that dark room, because right in front of it, there's a crate that we need to push, and by pushing that crate, that's what's going to prevent the raptors from getting from here to the visitor center. It doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense, but you can see there is the crate right there. However, if you'd like to check out the room where the raptors are taking the tunnel to the visitor center, and that room does contain a 1-up and some ammo for your bolas, you'll want to enter this room before you push the crate. Once you push the crate, you won't be able to come in here. Now, this part is completely optional, and it's probably more dangerous than it's worth, so I don't actually recommend that you come in here. But if you did want to check out this tunnel, I wanted to be able to show it to you. This area looks a lot like the raptor nest that we're going to be entering later in the game, and there are a ton of raptors in here, so be very careful if you decide to enter this optional area, and make sure that you brought a lot of ammo with you. The couple bolas that you'll find in here are probably not going to compensate for how many you'll have to spend killing the enemies, but there is a hidden 1-up if you were wondering where more of those are. A few rocket launchers and a few bolas will take out these raptors, and we can just grab that ammo and then grab the extra life and head back out the way that we came to get out of this terrifying dungeon. You don't have to go in here. If you wanted to get a higher score or something like that, then there are some good reasons for going in here, or if you were very low on your bolas and wanted to get more ammo desperately, I guess that could be a reason to come in here. But all you actually have to do is go over to this crate and just push it in front of that door. Just kind of walk on it and it will move, and the raptors have now stopped entering the visitor center. It's like magic or something. Once we've pushed that box, we're going to backtrack to the ground level. Remember, if you wanted to go in that night vision area, you won't be able to go in there after you push the box, so you need to do it before you push the box if you had any interest in going in there. And just make your way back over to elevator C. From here, we're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from elevator B, and elevator B will take us back to the ground floor.
Eu tranquilamente jogaria um jogo. Eu jogaria esse jogo, um hack que fosse rapidinho assim, que ele tá fazendo, sabe? Porque agora ele tá acelerando o vídeo só pra...
And it seems like it's some kind of
Porque ele tá voltando por lugares que ele já foi, sabe? Pô, eu jogaria um jogo rapidinho assim. Claro, com certeza seria mais difícil, né? Os dinossauros iam atacar mais rápido também. Mas... Cara, depois de tu assistir rápido daquele jeito, tu vê a velocidade normal é tão dolorosa.
You'll find a first aid kit inside. And you will also find some rocket launcher ammo and this computer terminal. Once you get onto this computer terminal, we're going to choose communications, and then we're going to choose ship comms and autopilot engaged. That's not good. Oh, okay. All right. Sailing procedure canceled. Ship will remain in dock. That's what we wanted to see. That is a requirement for beating the game, and you will not be able to finish this game until you do that. With the ship called, there's nothing else that we need to do in the raptor pen, so we will not need to return there for any reason, unless you need to use the computer terminal to open up one of the gates. The next thing that we technically need to do is go to the ship and clear out all the dinosaurs on there, but before we do that, there is another objective that we can get started on right now, and that is destroying the raptor nest. We won't be able to actually destroy the raptor nest until we finish the ship level, but for now we can go to the upper left corner of the map where we'll find the north shed, and inside the north shed we're going to find the nerve gas canister, and that's what we're going to use to destroy the raptor nest. And this is something that we can do at pretty much any time as long as we have Robert Muldoon's ID card, and we got that pretty early on in the game, so that's what we're going to do right now. Before we actually go into the shed, there are a few more eggs to find in this area, so if we head to the upper left corner, we'll be able to find an egg up there, and once we collect that one, there will only be 5 eggs left in the game. You do want to watch out for triceratops up here. They will come stampeding through this area, so just step out of the way if you see them. That weapon that we walked by was a tranquilizer dart. The tranquilizer darts are the only weapon that is effective against the Tyrannosaurus Rex. It doesn't actually kill the T-Rex, but it can slow it down, but that's really the only thing that the tranquilizers are good for. We want to stick with our rocket launchers instead. It's not actually that hard to avoid the T-Rex without getting the tranks. You may not remember it, but whenever we went to the computer terminal a long time ago, we did activate the gate control for gate number 1. That was gate number 1. If that gate is not opening for you, then you need to find pretty much any computer terminal in the game, tell it to open up gate number 1, and then you'll be able to get through there. Through gate number 1, there are 2 eggs. There's one that's down below near the top of the visitor center. And if we go all the way up here, we'll see the N and Dr. Horner. But if we head over to the left behind the shed, there we'll find another dinosaur egg. And some bolas as well. That only leaves 3 eggs left. So we're doing very good on the eggs. And once you collect that last egg in this area, you're going to want to head back down around to the front of the shed so that we can go in. Once you get inside the north utility shed, you could go to the left or to the right. The way that we actually need to go is to the left. That's going to lead us to the elevator. The elevator will take us down to the sub-level, and down on the sub-level, that's where we're going to find that nerve gas. However, if you go to the right, that's where you'll find the batteries for the night vision goggles for this shed. You don't actually need the batteries for the night vision goggles to be able to get the nerve gas, and the nerve gas is the only required item that you need to find in here. So getting the batteries for the night vision is completely optional, but if you want to know where all of the hidden batteries are, I am going to show that to you here. It does take quite a bit of work to actually get to the night vision batteries in here, so it's much easier to do this shed if you don't do this. But it's not like these dinosaurs are really that dangerous. If you know what you're doing and you have a decent amount of ammo, you should have no problem getting over to this room in the upper right corner of the map, where you'll find those batteries. Now, what are the batteries even for? Well, if you head straight back across into this room, we can go through another transitional room, and over here, we'll find a room that has a raptor in it, and there's also a hidden 1-up. So the only thing we actually needed the night vision goggles for was to get that 1-up. 1-ups are not like the most useful things in this game, so totally optional if you want to be able to get that. And once you have it, we're going to head back to where the starting was, and we're going to take the other path. You're going to see an exit sign on the left here, which will indicate that we're back at the starting. But we're going to walk right by that exit sign and take this door at the end of the hall. This is the way that we could have gone to the left whenever we started out. In this room, there's a Dilophosaurus and a raptor, so make sure to take out both of them. And the elevator is going to be located in the back of this room to the left. Once you get inside here, there's only one place you can go on this elevator, so take it down to the sub level. And whenever we emerge, this is going to be the floor that we need to go on to get the nerve gas. There's two ways that you can go here. To the left is a dead end, so we're just going to go straight through, and you're just following the outside rooms of the map. So just follow along the outside rooms of the sub-level map. There aren't that many dinosaurs down here, so you don't have to be too worried. Once you open up this door, this is the room that has the rocket launcher ammo and the first aid. That's a good landmark. And this is the door that you need Robert Muldoon's ID card to open, and there are quite a few dinosaurs in this room. This is the room with the nerve gas in it. And the nerve gas is that gray can with the red label on it that you can see right ahead. That is the key item that we're looking for. But don't forget that some of the monsters that kind of look like trees in the background are actually spitters. So you want to take them out, and this is the only interior area that I can think of that actually contains the tranquilizer darts. So if you really wanted to build up a big supply of tranks, that's like the only place where you could do it. But for now, stay with the rocket launchers. They are much better. The last thing that you want to do is tranquilize a raptor, and then when you come back around, it'll be back up and moving again and able to kill you. If you take out the enemies with bolas or rocket launchers, they will not respawn. With the nerve gas in hand, we're going to make our way back to the ship. We won't be able to use the nerve gas until we have cleared the ship. There's not a whole lot of logic behind that, but you just won't be able to plant the canister in the raptor nest if you have not fulfilled the requirement of clearing out the ship first. I'm just stopping in the visitor center here for a quick chicken leg snack and to establish a checkpoint. In case we would get killed by some dinosaurs, we wouldn't go all the way back to the north utility shed. That would be quite a hike. So now we're going to make our way over to the right. Straight across to the right from the visitor center is where we'll find the mountains, and the mountains of course lead us to the ship. We will have to cross these mountains several times to be able to finish this game, and this will not be the last time. This time it'll be a lot easier to get through the mountains because we don't have to stop anywhere to find eggs. So you're just going to take the path along the top. See, there's those gas canisters that we used as a landmark before, and we'll go up this little stairway, past those gas canisters, and then follow the path down. As this path winds around, try to take out any dinosaurs that you can. Most of the dinosaurs will not respawn, but don't forget that the raptors do, especially when you get near this boulder over here on the left. There's always a raptor waiting for you here. There she is. So take her out, head over to the left and go down this stairway. And when you go down this stairway, I always go all the way to the bottom. That'll keep that rock from falling on you. And over here is where the secret level is. Now is a good time to restock your weapons. We need to kill all of the dinosaurs on the ship. So unless we have a lot of ammo, we're not going to be able to do that. It can be kind of hard to tell how much ammo you exactly have left. So if you feel like you might be a little bit light, you do want to go in and out of that secret area a few times to stock up. How many dinosaurs are we going to have to take out on this ship? 10, maybe 15, you might be thinking. Well, if you're thinking that, you are dead wrong. Think more like more than 50. There are a lot of dinos on this boat. And it seems that there were 2 that we missed here on the entry level. Make sure that you re-pick up your rocket launcher after you pick up that shotgun. And we need to find those last 2 dinosaurs, which I suspect are in the room right above where the shotgun shells are in the upper right corner. I don't think that we were over there earlier on when we came to the ship the first time. So we're going to follow this hallway along.
Pelo que eu entendi, você tem que matar todos os dinossauros que tem aí, nesse lugar.
Here's where those last two
E
dinos were. And you can see now that there are 0 dinos left on this level, and it's now safe to go down to the lower ones and start clearing those out.
pelo que eu entendi, são 50.
So from here, there's only one elevator on this level, and it's elevator A. So we're just going to follow the main hallway around, and we don't have to worry about any dinosaurs on this level. We know that they've all been wiped out, so there's nothing here that can hurt us. Just take your time, make your way to the elevator, and once we get down to the next floor, that's when we'll have to be a little bit more concerned about enemies. We can stop at sub-level 1 just to make sure that we got all the dinos the first time we were in there. I think that we did, but it's probably worth stopping just to see. So we'll get out real quick. If it says 00, 00. We can also pick up some rocket launchers here if we want. And now that we know that sub-level 1 is safe, we're going to take the elevator down to sub-level 2. As we exit onto sub-level 2, we can see that there are 14 dinosaurs left on this level, and this is the lowest floor that we can access from elevator A. You won't be able to access this floor at all unless you have Ray
Aparece na
Arnold's
tela
ID
quantos
card,
tem pra matar, pelo
but we
menos.
found that
O
quite
cara não
some
tem que
time ago,
adivinhar.
so we don't really have to worry about that.
É que eu não tô prestando atenção em muita coisa do jogo, né? Então eu não tô lendo muito na tela pra ver se o tipo de informação que o jogo te dá. Eu tô só ouvindo o que o cara fala e me perguntando se tudo que ele fala o jogo te diz ou se algumas coisas é só tu tem que descobrir sozinho. Mas pelo menos a quantidade, os dinossauros que tu tem que matar aí dentro, ele te diz, né? Ou seja, nesse andar aí, faltam 11 agora. Mas aí tem os outros andares ainda.
So you may be wondering, what did we need to use security level 2 for? And we actually need it right here on sub-level 2 of this very ship. There's a locked door that will keep us from going into elevator B, and until you have security level 2 clearance, you won't be able to get in there. So that's why we had to do all of this other stuff before we came back here. You need to have security level 1 before you can use that level 2 computer. We also needed Ray Arnold's ID card, all of that stuff, just so that we would be able to go deeper into the ship.
Pena que hoje em dia eu não tenho mais paciência de fazer isso, mas na época eu acho que eu teria paciência de ficar desenhando o mapa, sabe? Tipo, ficar eu criando meu próprio mapa dos lugares. Hoje em dia eu acho que eu não conseguiria fazer isso. O que é curioso, né? Porque hoje em dia eu acho que seria mais fácil. Porque a melhor maneira de fazer um mapa desse tipo seria ter um caderno quadriculado, né? Que aí tu faria... Poderia meio que fazer as salas dos tamanhos mais precisos. Só que até aquela coisa, né? Tu não sabe por onde que tu começa o mapa. Se tu começa embaixo, na folha ou no meio. Porque tem, às vezes acontece, né, de tu começar, tipo, embaixo da folha, aí tu vai entrando, vai subindo e tal, e de repente tu descobre que o mapa tem lugar atrás de onde tu entra, sabe? Então, tipo, tu precisaria ter espaço mais embaixo. Fazendo no computador não tem esse problema, né? Tu pode criar espaço.
That sound effect indicates that there's a spitter in the next room, although sometimes it sounds like the spitter could actually be in the room with you. You'll often hear the dinosaurs through the walls in this game. Once you clear that guy, I want to show you a little trick, so I'm going to pick up the shotgun bullets. This is just a random glitch that you can do in the game, but if you shoot one of the Dilophosaurus enemies with a bola and shoot it with a shotgun right as it explodes, it'll transform into a raptor. Even weirder, if you do the trick on the very last dinosaur on any level of the ship, You'll get credit for clearing that level, but there will still be a dinosaur left alive, so it is possible to get credit for clearing the ship, but for there to still be a few dinosaurs left roaming.
Ah, que legal.
In the movie,
Ele acabou
the
de ensinar um
dinosaurs
glitch
were
no
able to
jogo.
change genders because some of the holes
Ele
in their DNA
matou
was
um
into strong
dinossauro,
DNA, but that
que
definitely
cospe
doesn't explain
coisa
their
em ti.
ability to change species.
Ele matou com as bolas ali.
Once you get onto elevator
Matou com as bolas, é muito
B, you
engraçado.
wanna take it
E
all the
quando
way down
o
to
dinossauro
sub-level
explode,
4
tu
and
atira com a
do not
shotgun.
get off at sub-level 3.
E daí,
Why do you ask?
aquele dinossauro se
Well, if
transforma em
you get
outro.
off at sub-level 4 first, there will be 30 dinos on
E
this
daí
floor.
tem uma parte, tem partes do jogo tipo esse aí, que tu tem que matar todos os dinossauros do lugar, sabe? Então o que acontece? Se tu fizer esse glitch, tu faz aquele dinossauro contar por 2. Então, tecnicamente, tu não precisa matar todos, porque mesmo tu matando aquele dinossauro, tu matou um só, que vale 2, vai diminuir 2 do contador, embora ainda no final das contas tenha um faltando no mapa, sabe? Só que é o contador que importa. Tipo, achei curioso.
It makes more sense to just do the more dinosaurs down on level 4 instead of trying to do more up on level 3. However, if you go down to sub-level 4 first and take a step off the elevator, and then you go back into the elevator and go up to sub-level 3, you'll get the worst of both worlds, and you'll have to fight 30 dinos on sub-level 4, as well as 18 on sub-level 3, which will be good for your score, but will make the game harder to finish. This darkened room is the one at the top of the map for sub-level 4, and it contains a lot of goodies in addition to a whole bunch of spitters. But if you need some more ammo, or you need a few first aid packs, you'll be able to find those here in this room. The general strategy for sub-level 4 is to just work your way up the right side, clearing out any dinosaurs that you encounter along the way, then go across this loop and then follow down the left side, trying to hit those small rooms near the elevator at the very end. By doing it this way, you should be able to replenish your health. If you do get low on health at any point, you could go back into the elevator, ride it up to sub-level 2, get off and then get back on, and then all of the items will have respawned. But just remember, you don't want to ride it up to sub-level 3 and get out there, or you may end up having to kill more dinos than you intended to. So we're just working our way through those last few rooms down near the elevator. 2 dinos left on this level. Now there's only 1, and the last one should be in this room right here. We'll also grab that rocket launcher ammo, and then we'll be able to head right back to the elevator. So just a very easy loop to get through sub-level 4, and you can see why it's much easier to do the 5 extra dinos on this level than on this one that we're about to do, that has just a bunch of tiny rooms for the dinos to hide in. You can see as we exit the elevator onto sub-level 3 that we only have to clear 13 dinos. If we had come to this level first, that number would be 18 instead. There's a nice first aid kit right here near the elevator, so that can be pretty helpful. And we want to kind of systematically go through this floor so that we don't miss any of the smaller rooms where some of the dinosaurs could be hiding out. I'm not sure why it's necessary to kill all of the dinosaurs on the ship. We already contacted the ship's computer. This ship isn't going anywhere, and even if we did clear out all the dinos on the ship, what's stopping more ones from jumping aboard? As soon as we leave this thing, it'll probably immediately be reinfested with dinosaurs. But whatever, we have to do it to beat the game. And in this room, behind a few raptors, we'll find the final ID card, Ellie Sattler's. I've mentioned before that Sattler's ID card is used to open up a passageway between the raptor pen and the visitor center, but it is a completely optional ID card, and of the 9 ID cards, it's the only one that is not required to finish the game, and that's why we didn't bother to get it until the very end here. Ellie Sattler was of course played by Laura Dern, and while it seemed like there was some romantic chemistry between her and Dr. Grant in the first movie, by the third one, she was married to somebody else. Just make your way through the last few rooms here on sub-level 3. Over here, we're going to find a very important room. This one requires night vision goggles, and you'll want to remember where this room is because there's a computer terminal here that we'll be able to use to send an SOS signal to the mainland, but we won't be able to do it until we set the nerve gas bomb in the raptor nest, so we are going to have to come back here later. Only 3 dinos left on
Jogo
this
cheio de
level, and not on the
backtrack.
ship at all. Make that 2 dinos left. So we're just going to look around for the last couple dinosaurs, and then we'll be able to finish this objective. The reason why all of the action in the first-person modes is confined into that small goggle-shaped area is because the Super Nintendo just didn't have the processing power to be able to support a larger area of the screen for first-person action. Well, either it was the Super Nintendo's hardware, or Dr. Grant is extremely brave for fighting these dinosaurs considering how bad his glaucoma must be. Still, this was very revolutionary for the time, and for a 16-bit console system like the Super Nintendo, being able to display graphics like this was definitely cutting edge. Whenever you see that message that says the ship is free from dinos, you can make your way back to the surface. You should have no problem getting out of the ship because we know that there are 0 dinosaurs left on board. There are a few more raptors that will try to ambush you here in the mountains though, so make sure to stop over in the secret level just to create a checkpoint. In case you get killed, you'll come back here. From here, we just need to go back through the mountains as we always do. Make sure to watch out for the raptor that tries to ambush you near this boulder. She is always there. And then you're just going to go straight across, down the stairs, and wrap around to the right. Our next objective is we need to go to the raptor nest, and we need to deploy that nerve gas canister. We need to actually plant it right next to a bunch of raptor eggs, so we need to get deep into the nest to do it. The raptor nest is located in the upper right corner of the map, and you need to have opened up gate number 2 to be able to get in there. So if you didn't open up gate number 2 whenever we accessed the computer terminal earlier, you'll want to stop over at the raptor pen and just use the computer terminal there to open up gate number 2. Otherwise, you will not be able to get into the area where the raptor nest is located. To get over to the upper right corner, we're going to take the same bridge that takes you over to where the raptor pen is. So we'll cross over that bridge over here up near the visitor center. And from here, we just want to follow the river to the right. Jump over these spiky vines, follow the river over to the right. If you see those big dragonflies, the bolas are good at clearing those out. And we're just going to go all the way over here, and this is where that gate number 2 is. We can open it up with a rocket launcher, assuming that we did what we needed to do in the computer to make sure this gate is online. Yes, the T-Rex is in this area, and you can avoid the T-Rex entirely by just following the path on the right side, but I assume you want to see the T-Rex, so there she is. If you see the T-Rex, just make sure that you are running in the opposite direction that the T-Rex is going, and you should be able to get away from it. If you get too close to the T-Rex, she will eat you, and it is instant death. Up here at the top of the map, we'll be able to find an egg. Not very many eggs left now. And right next to that motion sensor, we'll find the north entrance to the raptor nest. As you may expect, there are a lot of raptors in here, and this is a very different type of interior area. It's sort of a maze, and there aren't a bunch of doors or interconnected rooms, it's just a bunch of long tunnels. The easiest way to navigate the raptor nest is to just stick to the left wall. So just follow the left wall along. Anytime you have an option where you need to go left or right, you're going to go left. And just stay glued to the left side there, and that will get you all the way to the eggs where you need to deploy the nerve gas bomb.
Ele está ensinando a estratégia que eu uso em labirintos, geralmente, né? Que é seguir uma das paredes. Ele está ensinando que nesse lugar aí é só seguir o lado esquerdo.
Just keep following the left wall around, and that's going to take you all the way up the left side, and it will wrap you around in the way that you need to go. So you could follow the map. You can use the different rocket launcher ammo spots to kind of get your bearings a little bit, or you can just do this stay on the left wall thing and make your life a whole lot easier. If you do mess it up, well, you could get lost, and it might be hard to find your way out if you get lost. Honestly, if you get lost in the raptor nest, the easiest thing to do might be to just get killed. Then you'll go back to the entrance, and you can attempt staying on the left wall again. Now, as you come around, one thing that you are looking for that will let you know that you're close to the end is a first aid kit. So we'll see some rocket ammo here, and there's a raptor around this corner, so we'll make sure to take her out. But as aid kit, and that's the first aid kit that's right next to where the actual eggs are, and you can see them in the background. They're those strange blue objects. Those blue eggs are definitely not the ones that we've been collecting around the park, so I'm going to have to assume that those are some other kind of dinosaur eggs, because these are the raptor ones. When you step into the center of where the eggs are, you'll be able to drop off the nerve gas, and then if you want to know how to get back out of the raptor nest, you can just stay along the right wall, which will take you back the same exact way. Now I'm going to speed this up for now, and normally I would just cut away from this and show you the outside of the raptor nest, but I did want to show you one more trick before we go. I'm actually very low on bolas ammo, so there is a tricky way that you can replenish the ammo for pretty much any weapon in the game if you can find a different weapon of the same type, like these gas grenades. So I'm going to pick up the gas grenades, and those replace the bolas. And then what you need to do is just completely waste all of the gas grenades. So I'm going to sit here and just keep going until I don't have any more gas grenades. And then when I pick up the bolas again, I'm going to have a full supply, as if I found a brand new bola icon and just picked it up. Pretty neat. That trick will also work for other weapons, so if you'd like to replenish your rocket launchers and you don't have very many of them left, you could pick up a shotgun or a tranquilizer dart, completely waste it, and then pick up the rocket launcher
mais glitch
again,
agora.
and you have a full supply of
Se tu
rocket
tiver
launchers.
com pouca munição da arma que tu tá, tu pega uma outra arma qualquer que substitua aquela, aí tu gasta toda ela e pega a arma que tu deixou no chão de novo, que daí tu vai estar com tudo.
What we're trying to do now is make our way to the lower right corner of this area, where we'll find another egg, and right near that egg, well, this is the east entrance to the raptor nest. And although we just dropped off some nerve gas in here, yeah, it's totally cool to just go back inside the raptor nest. Yeah, there are a bunch of things that you can find over there, lots of ammo that you can grab, but there's no real reason to go back into the raptor nest once you've deployed the nerve gas. With the nerve gas canister in place, we will now be allowed to call the helicopter so we can finally get off of this island. You'll notice that because we stayed on the right side of the raptor nest area, we didn't encounter the T-Rex again, so if you want to avoid the T-Rex, the easiest way is to stay over on that right side. From here, we need to go back to the ship. To get back to the ship, we have to cross over the mountains again, so that's what we're doing right now. The last time we were in the ship, we did find the room on sub-level 3 where there was a computer terminal, that you'll probably remember was in a dark room that you needed night vision goggles to access. That's the computer terminal that we need to go to so that we can send our SOS signal to the mainland, and that will prompt a helicopter to come and rescue us. You will not be able to send the SOS signal from the computer until you've deployed the nerve gas canister, and you will not be able to get onto the helicopter until you have found all 18 dinosaur eggs. Yeah, I imagine that could be a pretty awkward exchange. Like, oh, hey, you're here to save us, helicopter pilot guy? Well, I am, but I have a very important question for you, Dr. Grant, and how you answer is going to determine if I can take you off of this island. How many dinosaur eggs did you find? Because if it's less than 18, I'm contractually obligated to leave you here. Yeah, none of that really makes sense, and to be honest, I'm not even sure how we know that these dinosaur eggs are even fertilized. In the movie, we saw a bunch of hatched eggs, but here in the game, we're finding a bunch of whole ones. So unless we're putting them next to a candle or something, how do we know there's a viable dinosaur even inside these things? On top of that, have we actually been collecting the eggs, just kind of throwing them into Dr. Grant's bag right next to 99 rocket launcher ammos?
E aí,
Or
BJ?
have we just been smashing those things the whole time? Because if we've been smashing them, then, you know, who's to say that we didn't smash all 18? I just want to get off of this island. Alright, we're speeding up things here in the ship. You just need to get to elevator A. From elevator A, we're going to work our way to elevator B. You'll remember that elevator B is located in a dark room, so that'll make it a little bit easier to find. Whenever you find the room that you need the night vision for, that's where you need to go to get to the elevator. So there it is. And we're going to take the elevator down just one floor to sub-level 3. Sub-level 3 is where that computer is. This is really more of a formality than anything at this point. There's no living dinosaurs on this ship, so we don't have to worry about being killed by them. We just have to get to this room.
Eu acho
and use the
curioso que
computer terminal.
nesse cenário aí
As soon as you get
tem
on the
umas
computer,
camas em alguns
you're
cenários,
going
né?
to choose communications, and then you're
Vamos fazer
going to
negócio
choose
realista aqui,
mainland
entendeu?
comms.
A gente vai fazer uns
The
quartos com
SOS
cama.
has been sent. The
E o que
helicopter
mais?
is
Só
on its
cama.
way. All we need to do
Cama
now
já dá pra
is
entender
get
que
to
aquilo
the
é um
helipad
quarto.
and also find that last egg, but the last egg is near the helipad. Now, one thing that you don't want to forget to do before you leave this computer is to open up gate number 3. Gate number 3 is the gate that leads down to where the Nublar utility shed was, and we'll need to open that up to be able to reach the helipad. If you forget to open up gate number 3, you can always run over into the raptor pen. There's a computer terminal right there at the entrance. Just use that and open up gate number 3. And don't forget, as you cross the mountains here, that there's a few spots where the raptors will ambush you. If you want to make a checkpoint at the secret level. But we're so far along here, there's not even very many enemies left in the game. We should be safe if we can get around the few raptor ambushes on these mountains. This is it. This is our final walk to the end of the game. The helipad is located in the lower right corner of the map, and to get down there, you're going to go straight to where the Nublar utility shed is, and we're just going to jump across some water, and that will take us to the area where the helipad is located. Whenever we get to the helipad, it's going to check us to see if we have enough eggs. We do need to find
O Triceratops desse jogo lembra bastante o que tem no Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku 2 do Game Boy Advance.
Well, that's the end of the mountains. That's the last time we're going to need to cross.
Tipo, ele não só eu achei ele parecido, mas eu achei parecido também a forma como ele aparece, né? É tipo num corredor que ele vem passando e você tem que se esconder. Uns espacinhos no corredor pra ele não te atropelar, sabe? É a mesma mecânica.
And this is a very dangerous section of forest, so don't get too excited here. It's like the end of the game and just get killed by the raptors. Pay attention to the radar at the bottom of the screen. That will tip you off when they're going to come out of the trees. Watch out for the red dots. Whenever you see them closing in, get ready to shoot your weapons. and just keep making your way down here. When you see the Nublar utility shed, you just have to jump over the water. If you land in the water, that's instant death. And right here is the helipad. Now, when you walk on the helipad, if you don't have all of the eggs, it will tell you how many eggs are left. I recommend touching that motion sensor to make a checkpoint down here. And you want to head over here to the right. We can actually go through the trees here. And over here, we're going to find an extra life. There's also another one of those Dr. Horner letters in here, the R, well, one of the R's. So they really didn't want people to be able to find those letters very easily. Although I do believe somebody won the contest just 2 days after the game debuted. The final egg is located over here. You have to go through some trees into a hidden area to find it. And whenever you see 0 eggs left, you know that we can go back to the helipad and win the game.
Ó, o Triceratops aí. Tá, ele só não é igual, né? O do Dragon Ball Z lá é mais infantiloide, mas enfim.
Over to the left, and all you need to do is walk onto the big H. We've done it. We've beaten Jurassic Park. All we can do now is sit back, relax, and enjoy the cheesy ending. But all the ending is we see the island float away in a Mode 7 effect, and then it says, "Congratulations, you have escaped Jurassic Park." That's it. That's the entire ending. I know that the developers were trying to cram as much as they could into a Super Nintendo cartridge and that this game was pushing the limit, but you think they could have even put a couple digitized scenes from the movie?
Por fora, eu já joguei em live, né? Eu acho que tu teve o azar de não ter visto nenhuma das vezes que eu joguei. Eu joguei mais o terceiro jogo, né? Mas é o mesmo esquema. É visão de cima.
Well, I hope this video was able to help you finally beat Jurassic Park for the Super
Tipo
Nintendo.
um Zelda, sabe?
If it did, make sure to give it a like and make sure to subscribe for more videos. Because there will always be more eccentric.
Só que aí tu pode, além de dar porrada, tu pode soltar os poderzinhos e se transformar em Super Saiyajin.
With another video game you can beat. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Vamos ver o que ele tem de interessante. Alguma coisa curta, né? Porque... vamos ver os mais populares. Tartaruga Ninja. Vamos ver uma coisa curta. Aqui, ó, Dragon Quest, 3 horas e 59. Link to the Past. Eu comecei a assistir esse em algum momento. Eu acho que foi quando eu comecei a fazer as lives do Link to the Past, mas eu não terminei. Aí como eu ia usar detonado mesmo, né? Pra gerar conteúdo lá pro canal, tipo, fazer um gameplay diferenciado e tal. Aí eu lembro que eu pensei em assistir esse detonado aqui pra garantir, né? Mas eu não tive paciência, não. Tanto que eu assisti só o comecinho ali. Aí eu descobri o canal desse cara e comecei a assistir uns gameplay que eu já sei que tem que fazer, né? Então, por exemplo, Dragon Quest, Simpsons, embora eu nunca tenha zerado, mas eu já conheço o jogo inteiro. Parte 2. Tá, peraí. Então aquilo lá é só a parte 1. Aqui, ó, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, Ultimate Guides, todos os itens, todos os chefes 100%. Tá, então significa que ele tem mais de um detonado, né? Deve ter um detonado que tem parte 1 e parte 2. E deve ter aquele completo, ó, 3 anos atrás. 3 anos atrás. Alguma coisa não está certa. O que tem nesse? Não entendi porque o cara tem duas partes. Ó, o Duck Hunt. Já jogou o jogo de caça-pato, Sion? Pô, eu queria zerar o Sexta-feira 13, meu. Mas esse jogo é muito estranho, cara. É muito cabuloso. Vou ver esse, então.
Friday the 13th is one of the most misunderstood games for the NES. It's published by LJN, a company notorious for making games that were so bad you'd be demanding to get your money back at Toys R Us. They were responsible for some of the worst games on the NES,
Como assim, macete de como
including the
jogar?
X-Men and Beetlejuice. The thing about LJN was that they weren't really a video game developer. They were a toy company that specialized in licensing big-name properties like the WWF. LJN would secure the license, and then they would pay someone else to make the game. The budgets were tight and the deadlines were short. I'm not sure that LJN really cared too much about how good the game was. As long as it passed Nintendo's quality check and looked marketable, LJN knew the license would be enough for them to make a profit. The best LJN games were created by companies that put in a bit more effort than the publisher required. Games like A Nightmare on Elm Street, Jaws,
Hora do Pesadelo eu também queria zerar. O tubarão ali que ele mostrou, eu tentei zerar, mas o último chefe eu não sei como matar direito. Tipo, eu sei o que tem que fazer pra matar, mas eu não consigo. Quando tu chega no tubarão, tu tem que esperar ele chegar pra te atacar e tu tem que meter uma estacada nele, sei lá que arma que é aquela. Mas eu não consigo acertar. Acho que tem que acertar bem no meinho, sabe? Mas eu não consigo fazer.
Atlas had the unenviable job of making a family-friendly game out of Friday the 13th.
E é um jogo bem curtinho de zerar, sabe? Bem de boa. Só não sei matar o último chefe.
Ghost that stalks the shores of Camp Crystal Lake, as well as other locations like
Também eu só tentei uma vez, né?
or Manhattan.
Eu tinha que tentar de novo
He's
qualquer
well
dia.
known for brutally murdering his victims, but this game had to pass Nintendo's strict censors. Nintendo wouldn't allow a cross to appear on a coffin, so violent stabbings definitely weren't going to fly. What they ultimately created was an early survival horror game. While this certainly isn't Resident Evil or even Sweet Home, Friday the 13th puts you in control of 6 camp counselors
Olá,
being
minha.
hunted by Jason Voorhees. Armed only with stones to throw, the counselors won't last long against Jason. You'll need to search Camp Crystal Lake to find stronger weapons, and then you may be able to turn the tables on Jason. But can you do it before he kills all of your friends? The game does a great job of building suspense. In the early game, Jason can pop up out of nowhere, and if he catches you off guard, it can quickly spell doom for your counselors. Even if you haven't seen the Friday the 13th movies, we all know from the movie Scream that Jason's mother was the original killer, and she is also represented in the game as a disembodied head that haunts the camp's creepy cave. Considering how Pamela Voorhees is killed in the movie, being a floating head feels appropriate. Sadly, critics panned Friday the 13th when it released in 1989. Complaints about the game's map being confusing are certainly valid, but some critics clearly just didn't understand the game. In Electronic Gaming Monthly's 100th issue, they said it was one of the top 10 worst console games ever made, including it on a list amongst abominations like Bubsy 3D and Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Friday the 13th is actually way better than that. And while it doesn't appear on IGN's list of the top 100 NES games of all time, it does have a legitimate place in NES history. Modern players that attempt this game will have to deal with all of the challenges the NES is notorious for. Jason is absolutely merciless and can end your game quickly. The forest areas are confusing mazes, and the dark cavern features instant death pits. But what if I told you an easy strategy to get one of the best weapons early? What if I told you the secret to getting the best equipment from Jason's mother? And what if I told you a foolproof way to put a stop to Jason once and for all? Well, on today's episode of You Can Beat Video Games, we'll learn all of that and more. If you're new to the channel, we're doing deep dives on retro video games and giving you the professional strategies that can be used by the casual gamer. Please make sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications so you don't miss any new episodes. Let's get started. Alright, Friday the 13th. Before we jump into the game, we should quickly talk about our 6 camp counselors. They certainly aren't all created equal. Paul, Debbie, and George are all terrible. They move slowly and can't jump very high. George is slightly better because he only needs to kill 2 enemies before he'll start finding items, but that's only a minor advantage. These characters can attack more quickly than the others, but you really can't rapidly fire the best weapons, so this isn't important at all. Laura can move fast, but she can't jump very high, so she's not great either. Now Mark, on the other hand, is arguably the best character in the game. He moves fast, jumps high, and can even row a boat quickly. I'm going to show 2 different ways to beat this game, and for the easier path, Mark is a great choice. Chrissy is as good as Mark at running and jumping, but she doesn't row a boat as quickly. We really won't be doing any rowing in this game though, so that actually doesn't matter at all. Chrissy's advantage comes with being the strongest female in the game. If you intend to fight Jason's mother, she will eventually drop the sweater, a powerful armor that can only be equipped by women. So when I show the more difficult route through the game, Chrissy will be our character of choice. The other thing that we need to talk about before jumping into the game is the way that Jason moves around the map. Contrary to the way that it may seem, Jason's movements are not at all random. There are
Tipo, tem um item que tu pega matando a mãe do Jason e esse item só as mulheres podem usar. Que loucura.
Knowing which direction that Jason is moving will be key to our success in this game. In the early game, we want to avoid him, but once we get the best weapon, we'll flip the script and start hunting Jason. Jason could start in the upper right corner of the map. If he does, he'll travel left across the top of the map until he comes to the cave loop. He could also start here in the upper left, but considering how few cabins there are in the top of the map, this is essentially the same path. Jason will just start attacking sooner. Jason will then take a clockwise circle around the cave, attacking any cabins he might pass. Take notice if you get an alert that Jason is attacking over here. It's a dead giveaway that he's on this path. Once he goes around the cave, he'll follow the outside path to the left side of the lake. This is a good place to catch Jason. No matter which path he takes, it will always lead him to the left side of the lake. Jason will then attack the children's cabins and will emerge from the lake on the right side when he's finished. This is another good spot to catch up with Jason. If we know Jason started in the upper right or the upper left, then he will definitely head down around the lake to the lower forest. Jason will hang out in the lower forest.
Eu sempre achei legal isso nos jogos, porque tem jogos que tu fica pensando que o boneco ele se move aleatoriamente, ou ele, sabe? Tu não entende que às vezes os programadores colocam um sentido na movimentação dos inimigos, né? E esse aí o cara tá explicando que o Jason tem uma movimentação mesmo. Né? Geralmente ele aparece lá da direita, faz todo aquele caminho lá por cima e vai lá pra esquerda, naquela caverna que tem lá, e pra atacar as crianças nas cabanas que tem lá. E que daí depois ele vai lá pra aquele lago lá no meio, sabe? Tipo, eu nem fazia ideia que o movimento dele tinha uma lógica quando eu joguei esse jogo.
Forest for a while, then he'll reappear in front of the small cabin to the left of the woods. This is also the third and final place where Jason could start the game. Things will feel a bit different if Jason starts down here. He'll be attacking the cabins in the lower right instead of the ones in the upper left at the beginning of the game. He will follow the outer path around until reaching the upper woods, where he will cut through and then he'll head back towards the left entrance of the lake. After attacking the children's cabins again, he'll emerge from the right side of the lake, but this time he'll head up and reconnect with the original starting point, where he'll start the path all over again.
Sim, é que nesse jogo tu tem que pegar as armas, tem que pegar uns itens específicos e pá, pra depois poder matar ele, né?
This first one is the easy way. We can choose Mark or Chrissy for this path. The counselors start in random locations, so just pick whichever one puts you closer to the lake. We want to get in here on the inside track to the lake. That clue says we need the torch to light the fireplaces, but that's just a bad clue. The lighter is what we need to light the fireplaces, and after you kill 3 zombies and jump, the lighter will appear. We know now that Jason is attacking a camper in the upper left corner of the map, so he started somewhere in the top. We'll need to make note of that, but unfortunately we're not going to go save that other counselor. They are officially Jason bait. We'll only need Mark here to beat the game. Jump in front of this cabin, and when you go inside, we're going to find a message in here. This message is very important. Make sure that you take it. This cabin is the one north of the lake. This is a very important cabin. Once you find that message, and you won't find it if you didn't find the knife already, that's very important as well, we can go into the forest. If you don't have a key, make sure you jump here as you head to the left, and take the first path up. Then we're going to press up again, and we're going to exit by pressing down, and then we're going to come back in here another time. Since we have the key, we'll be able to go inside this locked cabin, where we will find another message. These messages are not just clues. It's very important that we take those so that it will trigger the appearance of the weapon that we need to find. Those are more vitamins. Make sure to pick up any vitamins that you see, and you're going to head right and take the first path down, and then head right again and take another path downward. That will bring us back to the lake. We're going to go back inside this same cabin where we found the first message, go all the way to the end, turn around and head back, and suddenly the torch will appear. You want to take that. The torch is one of the most powerful weapons in the game. It's 4 times more powerful than the knife. With the torch, we'll be able to kill Jason in 32 hits, when it would take over 120 to take him out with the knife. Now that we have the torch, we simply need to fight Jason. We know that he's going to be coming here to the left side entrance of the lake, so if we just hang out here, we will encounter Jason as soon as he comes this way. He's always going to appear on the right side of the screen, and if you see the zombie enemies start to turn around and walk off the screen, that's a dead giveaway that Jason is about to show up. To beat the game, we don't have to light any fireplaces or fight Mrs. Voorhees or do any of those things. The only thing we need to do is defeat Jason. And to defeat Jason, we are going to probably encounter him several times, so as soon as he pops up on the screen, just start hammering him with the torch. Now, he's going to go into the lake and start attacking the children's cabin. You could row a boat out there, enter the children's cabin, and try to rescue them, but unfortunately, there's a good chance that means that you'll die. So, instead, we're going to have to sacrifice some of those children, and we're going to come over here on the right side.
Ao invés de salvar as crianças, vamos sacrificar elas.
Jason is going to come here after he's done attacking the children, and not only that, Since he started in the top, we know that he's going to travel down
Porque assim é mais
to the
fácil matar
forest.
ele.
Anytime in this game that you move to the left, that's going to move you clockwise on the map, while moving right will always move you counterclockwise. It may seem like Jason runs away to the right all the time, but he actually follows his path, so you may need to chase him to the left when it seems like you should have to chase him to the right, and that's what we're going to have to do here. Hit Jason as many times as you can, and then we're going to chase him to the left. If he had started in the bottom, he would actually be running the other direction, so we'd be chasing him to the right. But now we're chasing him to the left, and it looks like he made it over to the forest. So if we don't encounter him here, we can try to catch up with him on the other side of the forest. So we can just kind of cut around that way. And we will encounter Jason there when he emerges on the other side. This is why that whole thing about where Jason moves is so important. You won't be able to beat him in a single move, so you want to make sure that you know which way that he's going. You also definitely want to avoid fighting him inside of a cabin. That's a good way to get killed. And that's it. We beat Jason, but if you've ever seen the movies, you know that you can't just kill Jason and expect him to be dead. No. We're going to have to fight him again. So this is day 2. Here on day 2, it's not as important for us to go find a weapon or anything. We just need to fight Jason. We know now that he started in the lower part of the map, so he's going to be attacking the cabins over on the right side, but he will eventually come over here to the left side of the lake, just like he always does. This time, however, whenever he gets to the right side of the lake, we know that he's going to be running to the right instead of the left. So that's very important when we chase him. And since we also know that he's following this path, we know that he's going to be coming from the upper forest, so we can hang out over here to the left of that lake path, because we know that Jason has to come.
Esse é o tipo de jogo que depois que tu vê esse vídeo tu pensa, vai ser barbado, eu vou tentar zerar. Aí tu tenta e não consegue. Foi assim com o tubarão, tá? Só pra esclarecer. Eu vi um vídeo e eu pensei, ok, é barbada zerar o jogo do tubarão. Mas eu cheguei no último chefe mesmo sabendo o que tinha que fazer, eu não consegui. Aí eu tenho medo de jogar esse jogo e também não consegui. Mesmo sabendo o que tem que fazer.
The machete is much worse than the torch. It's actually a third as effective as the torch.
Até porque, se eu for jogar esse jogo, eu já vou ter esquecido metade do que ele falou, sendo que metade do que ele falou eu já não ouvi. Porque, tipo, tem coisas que eu presto atenção no que ele fala, mas tem coisas que entram por ouvido e saem pelo outro, sabe? Porque, tipo, são coisas que eu sei que eu já não vou lembrar mesmo, então eu já nem tento. Coisas muito técnicas, coisas muito complicadas, eu nem presto atenção.
And there he is, right on cue. We knew that Jason would show up, and now we're going to chase him over to the lake. Hopefully we can get him a second time. Don't waste any time or pause or anything whenever you're chasing Jason, or he may get away. So we'll get a second chance to deal more damage to him. Jason is a lot harder the second day, but we have a great weapon, and we still have a bunch of those vitamins, so we're in good shape. We shouldn't be too worried about losing to him. We're going to come over here on the right side of the lake. Once again, he's attacking those children's cabins, and whenever he's done, we'll have 5 children left. That means that if he attacks the children again on the 3rd day and kills them, we will get a game over, so we are going to need to defeat Jason before he gets to the children's cabin on day 3. Over here, we can fight him again. We had to use some of our vitamins, but we got him. But we still haven't defeated Jason, and he's even stronger. We need to beat him again on day 3. Same thing though. We just need to pay attention to where the Jason alarm is going off. We can check our map and look for a flashing house. That will tell us where Jason is attacking and give us a good idea of what he's doing. But for now, we can hang out in front of the lake. If we had to, if Jason gets to the children's cabins, we could switch to another counselor. If you go inside one of the small cabins and press start, you can switch to any of the other counselors. And we could send somebody over there to the children's cabins to fight Jason and probably get killed, but at least we wouldn't lose Mark with the torch. We know now where Jason is attacking. He's attacking in the upper left, and we can take a shortcut through the woods here. If we head over to the left, and then we go up at the first path on the left, and then take the next left and go up again, and then go left for a third time, but take the first down, that will take us through the woods and out the exit on top. So you can see where we are now. We could just hang out here, and Jason is going to emerge from that house whenever he's done killing our friend, and then we'll have him. We'll have a good shot at taking him out. We know that once Jason kills the counselor inside this house, he's going to emerge from that cabin and head to the right towards us. So we should be able to fight him here, and then we should be able to chase him up that path into the loop around the cave where he will head clockwise. So we'll go in there, and here he is again. So just attack him rapidly with the torch whenever you see Jason, and then heading left will take us clockwise. If we don't encounter Jason right away, he probably went into a cabin, so there he is. He is in this one, and if you quickly turn around and exit the cabin, you should be able to get Jason to come outside, but there is a risk. You may end up fighting Jason inside the cabin, although he probably doesn't have a lot of health left, and there's a good chance we would be able to beat him there anyway. But that's it. We've defeated Jason for the third and final time. We did it. We beat Friday the 13th. That's really all there is to it, but what if we wanted to do all that other stuff, like light the fireplaces, or fight Mrs. Voorhees? For that, we're going to need to do another run, and this time we need to choose Chrissy. Remember that we're not going to use the torch to light the fireplaces. Instead, just like Mark, we need to defeat 3 zombies and then jump, and we will find the lighter. Before we find the lighter, we won't be able to find any other items in the game, so that's very important. And we're also going to go and light those fireplaces, so we actually need it this time. Once we have the lighter, we
Eu acho engraçado essas coisas aleatórias, né? Tu tem que matar 3 zumbis e pular pra aparecer o item.
These items that appear in the air when you're jumping around seem to appear randomly, but they are not random at all. Every time you play the game, those items will spawn in the same general locations, and once they're collected, you won't be able to pick them up with any other characters. So that's why we're just sticking with Chrissy or Mark the entire time. If you were to pick up a whole bunch of vitamins, or collect the key multiple times, whenever you switch to a different character, you won't be able to find those items again, and that can be extremely problematic. That's why I recommend just sticking with one character and getting as many items as you can with them. You may want to pick up the knife multiple times whenever you see it. That way you won't collect it by accident whenever you have a better weapon. But right now we're just going around camp trying to enter all of the big cabins on the map so that we can light their fireplaces. Lighting the fireplaces is a completely optional side quest, and they must all be lit by the same character to be able to find the flashlight. So that's the end game of lighting the fireplaces. You'll find the flashlight item, which will allow us to see a little bit better in the cave, but it's another one of those items that's just completely optional. If you enter all the big cabins and you light some of the fireplaces with Chrissy, and then you switch to Mark and you light the rest of the fireplaces with him, you will not find the flashlight. You just need to stay with the same character in this game. We want to make sure to pick up that message that says go into the woods. This is that same cabin that we entered in the easy route, and this time we can go over here, spawn that knife and pick it up, but we want to head to the right this time. I'm going to show you where to find the axe, which is a weapon that's not quite as good as the torch, but we haven't found it yet. And I want to show you that weapon. So you go all the way to the right, take the first path down, and then come back up, and then go to the left and go up. We'll enter the cabin here, and we'll find a message just like we did the other time. But this time, because we went to the right and we did that down-up thing, whenever we exit the door here, we'll find the axe. The axe is 50% as powerful as the torch, but whenever we're fighting Pamela Voorhees, it's equally effective. You want to head left from the cabin in the woods and take the first path up, and then go left and take the first path down. So left up, left down from the cabin in the woods will take you to the top of the map. If you go right down, that will take you to the exit at the bottom of the woods. So that's the way you can navigate the woods. Over here we'll find another one of those large cabins where we can light the fireplace. And we only need to light the fireplaces in the large cabins that you see on the path. The cabins inside the woods don't have fireplaces in them. Here you can see the day-night cycle in action. Whenever you exit 5 cabins, and the ones in the forest do count for this, it will change to evening. Now, whenever we enter and exit more cabins, it will eventually turn to night. As the day-night cycle progresses, the enemies get more dangerous. You'll notice that there will be 2 zombies instead of just 1 whenever we're on the path, and we'll start seeing some other enemies as well. Light the fireplace and make your way outside of the cabin, and we will continue on our quest. We need to hit up all of the cabins that are near the cave, so that's what we're going to do now. There's a big cabin right here. Go in, and each time you go into the big cabin, you want to go all the way to the end, then turn right. That's going to lead you to the fireplace. So just remember that. All of the big cabins are pretty much the same inside, with the exception of finding those messages and things like that. Jason is currently attacking the lake, so we don't have to worry about him. And this should be the last of the large cabins. Remember, whenever you light the last fireplace, make sure to take that flashlight before you exit the screen. If you don't, it could disappear and never come back. Now that we have the flashlight, we can enter the cave. We don't really need the flashlight to enter the cave though, but you can see everything very clearly in the cave since we have the flashlight. Over here through the first door, we will meet Pamela Voorhees. Try to hit her up to 3 times as her head floats backwards, and then you want to get as far away from Pamela as you can until she swoops down, and once she finishes swooping, that's when you want to get your attack in. You want to shoot your axe just a little bit in front of Pamela's head so that she flies into it, so you need to lead her a bit. It should take 10 hits from the axe to finish her off. Once she's defeated, you can take the torch, and that's why we brought the axe here. If you bring the torch to Pamela, whenever you defeat her, she'll drop the machete, which is much worse. But if you bring the axe, that's another place where you can get the torch, so now that's like we have a backup torch. We could theoretically use Mark on another day and go through and get the torch just like we did before if Chrissy would die. Now that Pamela is defeated, we need to track down Jason, and we know that he just came off of the lake, so we want to head over that way. There are crows that are attacking us now because it's night, and the zombies are much more vicious. I think we can catch up with Jason by heading down to the exit of the lower forest. So we're going to head left here so that we're moving clockwise on the map. And there he is, right on schedule. So we'll attack Jason and then we're going to chase him here to the right. He should be moving this way. Hopefully he won't go into any cabins. I'm concerned that he might have went into one of these ones since we haven't encountered him, and yep. Now we can do a trick here. If you go into a cabin with another counselor, press start, switch to a different counselor, and then switch back. Whenever you exit the cabin, Jason should appear outside and you can fight him outside the cabin. Doing this trick does run a small risk though. There's a chance that it could fail, and if it does, you might end up having to fight Jason inside the cabin, which could be a disaster. I recommend using this trick on day 1 and 2, but maybe don't do it on day 3 if you have an expendable counselor that you can just sacrifice and wait for Jason outside of the house. Now that we are on day 2, we can go back and fight Pamela Voorhees again. This time when we fight her, she's going to drop the sweater. You don't have to fight her on day 1 to be able to get the sweater on day 2, so fighting her on day 1 is completely optional even if you are interested in getting the best items. You could theoretically just get the torch like we did on the easy path, take out Jason right away, and then pursue Pamela on day 2. You also don't need the flashlight. You just won't be able to see the door there. You just need to press up when you're in that location, and you won't need the flashlight at all. Pamela is a good bit more difficult this time. Sometimes when she swoops down, she'll do 2 swoop attacks, so you need to watch out for that. Just keep hitting her with the torch. Remember to kind of lead it in front of her a bit, and make sure to take the sweater. The sweater is amazing armor that can only be equipped by female characters, and that's why we're playing this route as Chrissy. Jason, of course, is a mama's boy, so he wouldn't be fooled by a male character wearing the sweater, but when he sees a girl wearing it, well, suddenly he doesn't deal as much damage. As well as other enemies in the game are also affected by the sweater, so I don't know how that entirely works, but the sweater is awesome. You see it makes Chrissy like flashing whenever she's wearing it. And we're going to head over to the right side of the lake so that whenever Jason is done killing the children there, we can take him out. Now that we have the sweater, he's going to be a lot easier. So the sweater is something that might be worth getting, but fighting Pamela is probably harder than fighting Jason. You might just want to take out Jason and do the easy path, but if you want a complete playthrough and you want to get all the best stuff, the sweater is a nice item to get. We will lose the game if Jason takes out all of the children, so we do need to avoid that, but until there are 5 or fewer left, we don't need to worry about it at all. Whenever there's more than 5 children, we can consider them expendable. Let's chase Jason. We know he's going to go down this path and head up to the right. So we're traveling counterclockwise now because we're moving right. And where did he go? Where are you at, Jason? There he is. Hammer him with the torch. And that's it. Jason has been defeated on day 2. All we need to do now is take out Jason's mother on day 3 and get the best weapon in the game. And then we can fight Jason one last time. Here on day 3, we're just going to make our way back to the cave so that we can fight with Pamela again. We're heading over here to the left because that takes us counterclockwise on the map, and we should find the path that leads us over to the cave. Oh, okay. Jason's over here right now, so we'll get some early beats on him. That's no big deal. And I bet he's going to follow us. Yep. He's taking the path that's leading him around the cave right now. If we would head left, we would encounter Jason again, so that's the direction he's going, but instead we want to take out Pamela here, so we're just going to go into the cave, jump over those 2 pits, which are instant death,
Não, esse jogo eu não entendi.
Green Pamela Voorhees is her most difficult form. She does the double swooping attack a lot more, and even has a triple swoop attack in this form. You'll need to be extra careful. Wait for her to attack and just get your attacks in when you can. It's very difficult to avoid her if you're nearby whenever she starts attacking, so you want to try to stay as far away as possible and attack her cautiously. Make sure to plan your shots. You can't have 2 torches on the screen at the same time, so you want to make sure that your throws are accurate. You don't just want to be mashing the button whenever you're fighting Pamela. And once she's defeated, make sure to take the pitchfork. It's the best weapon in the game. The pitchfork doesn't deal more damage to Jason than the torch does, but it does attack more quickly and it penetrates enemies. So yeah, the pitchfork is awesome. Now that we have all of the best equipment, if you're feeling brave, you may try to take on Jason inside one of the cabins. So that's what we're going to do now. It is still a risk though. You're much better off trying to fight Jason on the path and just using that counselor swap trick here to try to get Jason to come outside. If you forget how to do that, you just want to switch to one of your other counselors that isn't in this cabin and then switch back to Chrissy and then exit the cabin and hopefully Jason will come outside. If you're fighting him in the cabin, you can dodge, but you can't dodge whenever you're attacking. So keep that in mind. You mostly just want to attack him quickly though when you have the pitchfork, and then you should be able to come outside and finish him off if you didn't fight to the death inside the cabin. Let's chase him over towards the lake. We know he's headed back that way. And if he goes inside of another cabin, we are going to use that counselor swap trick. We don't want to risk fighting him again. Our health is getting fairly low, even though we do have the sweater right now. We know he's going to come back this way. If he does go into the lake, we can chase him down on a rowboat. He shouldn't have very much health left. Where you at, Freaky Jason? We're ready for you. On day 3, Jason does move faster, and if you're down to your very last counselor, whenever you fight him, he might not run away. He may actually just fight you to the death. So in some ways, that actually might be good. So you definitely shouldn't be worried if your counselors die. Fighting Jason with a pitchfork makes him super easy to defeat. And that's it. We've done it. We've completed Friday the 13th and got all of the important items. Well, I hope this video was able to help you finally defeat Jason and put an end to the haunting of Camp Crystal Lake. If it did, make sure to give it a like and make sure to subscribe for more videos, because evil never truly dies. So that's why we'll be back again next week with another video game you can beat. Thanks for watching.
Loucura, bicho. Que loucura, bicho. É fácil zerar o jogo, cara. Bom, eu vou indo nessa, gente. Foi muito bom o papo. Mas estou indo nessa. Algum dia eu vou tentar zerar esse jogo. Não custa sonhar, né?